No Jumper, coolest podcast in the world. And today we have my friend and music journalist Jeff Weiss on the show.
What's going on?
How you doing, Jeff?
I'm good. Ready for my deposition. Let's do this.
It's 11:06 p.m., so let's just put that in perspective for the
Real
people out there.
podcast hours.
Yeah, and we just got done interviewing G. Perico, who's the guy that you're a big fan of.
Yeah, he's my hair hero. Just one of the best gangster rappers in LA.
He's kind of like your pick.
Yeah, right now, of this up and coming class, yeah, he would be. There's a few. I mean, but I feel like in rap and in life, there's a bunch of right answers, but he's not the wrong answer. That's for sure.
Right. You know what's the one thing that I kind of wanted to say at a certain point, but I've sort of learned that it often doesn't bode well to try to do this. Is I wanted to sort of like throw out the question like, there are other significant gangster rappers coming out of LA that are, a few years older than you, a few years more in the industry, like Kendrick or Vince or YG or whatever. And I always want to sort of like get their idea of where they feel like they fit in amongst their peers. But then I feel like a lot of times when you do that, it's sort of...
You'll never get the truth.
Because rappers never want to acknowledge that they stem from somebody else in a lot of ways, or that they have many common similarities. Whereas for journalist type people, that's like exactly what we do.
Yeah, well, I feel like everyone, there's a concerted thing where I think people try to mask their influences, which is probably smart. You're better off telling people, like, not telling people, so it does the journalist job for them. Yeah.
Like I was sitting there with Hoodrich Pablo Juan, and he really didn't seem very in favor of acknowledging like his stylistic influence to Gucci or Migos or Pee Wee. And
like, who are you listening to right now? They're like, myself.
That's
always the worst answer. You're like, that's not true.
Do you not believe that though? I feel like a lot of times when I am talking to
no one is always listening to themselves except for maybe Kanye. And even Kanye, I feel, is probably like listening to like obscure jazz, like secretly at home.
You think so? I've known a lot of rappers who only listen to themselves.
Only listen to themselves. That's such a boring way to live your life. It's like, I can't imagine. Can you imagine only listening to your do you listen to your podcast?
No, I can't even imagine what it would be like to listen to one.
Yeah,
it's been so long.
Listen to this. This is going to be your most highly rated podcast. It's going to be me and Smoke Perp.
Well, I'm all about reading the comments and seeing it. Like,
who is this guy?
But the comments will fill in the gaps of like, if there was something funny in the podcast,
go get it.
A few people will mention in the comments. I'll see those comments. I'll be like, yes, that was an amusing moment.
Yeah, they're just going to think I'm Rosenberg part 2.
You think?
I don't
Rosenberg with some fucking Rogaine?
Yeah, Rosenberg. Yeah, well, what are you gonna do? He's big in the wrestling circuit, and I'm not, so he's winning there.
He is. Are you a wrestling fan? Has that been part of your life? I was
like young, nothing against wrestling, but like it's lost its kind of zest for me, I suppose. Like I kind of checked out, I think, when like Ultimate Warrior beat Hulk Hogan in like 92, and I was like
92 was when I stopped as well. Yeah.
That was when I realized that life wasn't fair and there was no God. So I think that was a good moment. I was like, I got everything I needed from wrestling, and I'm ready to move on to nihilism.
See, it was very easy for me to leave wrestling behind, whereas like if I had to stop listening to rap right now, I think it would be very, very difficult.
Yeah, I thought, like, did you ever think when you were younger, you're like, I don't know, like when I get older, like I might be listening to like Michael Bolton.
I never really planned it out that way.
No, I mean, I was always the dude that was like, I'm going to be listening to rap when I'm like 85 in an old age home, and like I'm gonna be really into the Old Dirty Bastard when I'm actually an old dirty bastard. It's not that far off, but
once in a while I'll be listening to a podcast or an interview with like an older rap guy, and they'll basically acknowledge that they don't listen to rap anymore, and that they listen to like Motown, or they're listening to Aretha Franklin, they're listening to Sade, whatever. And there's a part of me that sort of envies that. Like I wish that I was at like a place of peace in my life in which I just was ready to be done with the songs and the hi-hats. And
I just want to be like, fuck it, mask off, I'm listening to only Enya.
Right.
It's like mask off, Enya, boom, new age, give me some incense and a Pegasus and I'm good. But I haven't got to that point yet. So
let's talk about your early days of getting interested in music. Or where do you come from exactly?
Los Angeles, the West Side. Yeah.
So for the record, our previous conversation before this was at the Good Luck Bar.
The Good Luck Bar.
Right.
Yeah.
With my girlfriend sitting there silently on her phone while we had like a probably 2 hour like drunken conversation. Not
Yeah,
super drunken,
totally.
but a few mixed drinks.
Drank whiskey at an opium den type establishment.
That's the vibe you get there? Is an opium den?
Yeah, I wish. It's a poor man's opium den.
you
There
ever
aren't
done
really
opium?
good opium dens the way that there used to be.
There
You
aren't.
might know of some though.
I don't. I've never done opium. I've never heard people
I
really
feel
even
like
talk
Lil
about
Peep
it.
has to know of like a good opium den, right? Or he hasn't lived in Echo Park long enough.
I feel like if Lil Peep knew about opium, that he would have songs directly about opium.
Totally. Have
Doesn't-
you ever done opium? Have you
No.
ever smoked opium? I had an opium phase for about.
Did you?
Yeah, I had an opium phase.
Wait,
I'm
so
on
wait,
no
that
jumpers.
like?
I'm like, all right,
Yeah,
drugs.
air yourself out.
I'm
Wait,
like,
wait,
all
wait.
right,
Okay, so what's that like?
Opium. It was kind of underwhelming. To
It's
be
an
honest with you.
opiate, right?
Yeah, I was very underwhelming to be honest with you. Sorry, mom. I've told you this, mom. It was. I guess I was in college in the first year after college, and I just had the opium plug at one point, which was it was
And when you smoke it, or
yeah, like you could smoke it, or you could do like kind of like knife hits of opium over a
Right.
stove, which was like way complicated and junkish for me. But I was like 8, and I was like 21, so I was like, yeah, this is
so
cool.
what's this high like?
I'm like a writer, so I was like very interested in the opium, because it had a esteemed literary tradition of like Samuel Coleridge and Thomas de Quincey, Confessions of an Opium Eater, and I'm really catering to the No Jumper audience with that. And
yeah, references.
shout out to Quincy and No Jumper. Anyways, so I wanted to do it, and it just made me fall asleep, honestly. But there was one like 420 where it was my first year out of college, and I was working. It was like my first job out of school. Well, I had like a bunch of jobs, but I was like one of them was like a business writer.
Out of high school or out of college?
Out of college, it was like the only I was like writing a novel, and like I was like I got to get a job, and I was like didn't want to be a square, but somehow I got a writing job as a business journalist, and like my way of rebelling was like all my homies were like on 420, and they were like, dude, we're getting so high, and I'm like in a tie, and I'm just like life is miserable, and so I took opium hits on the job in the back of a Jeep Cherokee in
Really?
the valley. Yeah, and I listened to Pet Sounds, and that was a nice day.
Could you compare opium to Xanax? Because that's like the main.
I've never done Xanax.
Never did.
No, I've never done Xanax.
What kind of rap writer are you?
Yeah, I'm not like I'm a little like wary of pills more than like I'm more of a psychedelics man myself.
Are you really into psychedelics? How far has this taken you?
I mean, I've definitely done my fair share of acid and mushrooms. I've written some good stories, I feel, because of acid.
So, okay, that's interesting. I was having a conversation with somebody the other day, and I said basically like, I imagine that a lot of people who write books in Hollywood, that they just end up doing a shitload of cocaine and then like.
I've never done coke.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my
It
God.
was just growing up in LA, it just seemed corny,
Okay.
because everyone did coke, and I was like,
Right.
just like not.
But basically-
no offense, I mean, if all my friends do coke. So.
If I could see, I could see someone writing a book in like 3 or 4 days on a ton of cocaine. Maybe they would need an editor after
I
the.
think the Taxi Driver guy wrote like the screenplay for Taxi Driver on a lot of coke.
Right. I assume that's how a lot of like great movies are made and stuff too. But what about writing on acid? When I've done acid, it's
I didn't write on acid, but I would
Okay.
take I would take pretty comprehensive notes on acid. So I did a story for Playboy last year, and I went to the Israeli Burning Man. And I was just like I'd gone the year before, like, so I got a free trip flown out there, and like I talked to this guy, and he's like, I run the Israeli Burning Man, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna write a story on the Israeli Burning Man. Someone will take it. And Playboy took it, and I went out there, and it was wild because it was like I show up to Israel, and within like 2 days of being there, I'm having dinner with the Israeli Ministry of Tourism, and like a terrorist attack happens next door.
Wow.
And there's like people running with AK-47s, and like the people. I'm like, meanwhile, I'm at like the Israeli equivalent of like McCormick and Schmick's.
What the fuck is that?
It's like
another
like
reference.
an Irish pub, like
Okay.
fake American Irish pub, like Berrigan's or something.
Okay.
And like some cheesy place, and they like tiptoe to the door, and they're like, you might want to go away from the window, and like it's chaos and sirens. It's right next to the Israeli Pentagon.
Wow.
So this is like day 2, and then like day 4, you're going to the Israeli Burning Man.
Right.
And
So were there many American acts, or who was
no, it
performing
was
at
like all
Burning Man?
psytrance. It was the weirdest thing. Have you ever heard psytrance?
What is that?
It sounds like your worst ketamine nightmare. Like you're on ketamine.
See, I haven't done that.
Yeah, I've never done that either. But I
you assume?
I got a lot of friends that have gone into a K-hole or two.
Okay.
It doesn't look fun.
It doesn't look fun.
It's
That's-
just like not my wave.
I've seen a lot of people doing it, and it just doesn't really look that great. But
Yeah.
okay, so it's weird trance music.
So it's
I'm
like
guessing.
weird, like unsha, and like I'm on, and then like finally, I'm like, I need some drugs, something. Like there's no
Right.
weed. Like I would have been fine if it was just weed. There's like not that much alcohol. Finally, this
No
one-
weed.
There was weed, but like I didn't have it was not that much.
You didn't have your
And
medical card.
No. I'm like, they're like, we'll cut off your hand. You're like,
Sorry,
what?
I only smoke weed from the dispensary.
Yeah, if they're like, well, you can get hash, I think, in Israel, but it's hard to get weed. So and then like, I ended up basically, this guy gave me a psychedelic date. And then I'm like, okay. And then
That's what they do? They put acid on dates?
I had a psychedelic date. And
Y'all consider this a date?
Yeah, it was definitely a date. And,
I don't know if everybody else is going to get that.
Needless to say, I like that pun.
Okay,
and,
nice. It's a little meme thing, you know?
Yeah, gotta have that quippy meme humor to appeal to the youth.
Well, no matter what the meme I use is, like, someone's going to inform me that I'm late, so...
Yeah, I mean, like, you're not making cash me outside jokes. I feel you're doing all right. Have you had her on the podcast?
No, but my girlfriend texts her or DMs her. They follow each other.
I think she's got something. The cash me outside girl.
I mean, she got 10 million followers, so she's got to have something,
right? Like, I mean, I feel like, I don't know, like nothing matters in this dystopian world we inhabit.
I haven't watched anything of her besides the Dr. Phil thing, and then I've like seen her commenting on Lil Pump's Instagram.
I've just only seen her in the Kodak Black video, in which case she looks bored.
Yeah. I mean, there's something strange about putting a 14-year-old girl in your rap video, but...
Yeah, if I was Kodak, that would be the thing I would try to avoid, but,
Yeah, that's
Kodak.
like literally the one thing I would...
Don't do that.
Yeah. But then again, like, after going on tour with Lil Pump and, like, getting a million people accusing me of, like, being a weirdo for going on tour with a 16-year-old, what do? I go and do a 12-year-old interview with Maddox.
Yeah, like, what's that like? Are you like, how do you interview a 12-year-old?
It's weird because there's almost like a level of like okay, he tells me that his dad died when he was 2 because he killed himself. I'm like, how do you have that conversation with a 12-year-old? If you told me that your dad killed yourself when you were 2, I feel like I could ask you a series of follow-up questions about it. He's 12. It's like I'm not a fucking high school guidance counselor. I wasn't really like prepared for how to.
You're like, I guess you're real. That's why you're into drill so much. I don't know. Like,
it was cool though because Maddox is a very. He is a cool kid, and I had FaceTimed with him a bunch of times for some reason. So
yeah, not a fan of his music, but I'm not going to diss a 12-year-old.
You think it's completely without merit?
I mean, I only heard that one song.
Overwhelming is fire.
It's like you can't. Here's the thing, like with you know what I mean? Like it's like artists you don't hear it. It's like kind of like I felt like it was kind of similar to Slim Jesus, but like I also don't care.
Yeah, there is a direct line
like,
between that.
Care.
I was thinking, damn, if I was doing No Jumper for like 2 years longer than I have been doing it, would I have gotten the Slim Jesus podcast? And the answer is probably yes.
There's no doubt.
Right, at the very least, I would have been sending the emails out trying to get
Jesus
it.
would still be texting you right now. You'd be like, oh God, he
He'd
won't
still
get
be
up my
sending me
Instagram DMs.
Do you think that there's like a Slim Jesus SoundCloud with like 1,400 plays on all the songs?
There's got to be a Slim Jesus Hive, right? Like there's got to be like 8 kids in Ohio and opiates.
I'm not even familiar with like what the state of his social media is, to be honest.
I don't know. I met Slim Jesus once briefly. It was a very awkward experience, and it was right at the height of the Slim's Jesus zenith. And I feel bad, honestly, for anyone that gets fame before they understand how to handle fame. I think fame is the most toxic thing in the world. So.
Right. Yeah, I could see that point.
Yeah.
Well, let me bring this to the table. Is that me and you were having a conversation one time about rappers who are coming out, and then at a certain point, like via text, it sort of became clear, like, oh, everybody that we're naming right now is like 18 or 16 or 17, and you said you're like, sometimes with this whole thing that we sort of are involved in terms of like, trying to spot up and coming rappers before they've fully blossomed, that you feel like you're like a high school basketball coach.
Well, it just feels like you're drafting college
or
basketball.
A scout, yeah, college
like
basketball scout.
And you're like, it becomes weird, and like it's kind of one of my problems with the NBA right now is it's like all about like draft picks, and it's like, oh, I can get this draft pick, I can get this draft pick, and it's like, dude, I just want like a player. You know what I mean? I want something I can listen to, and like I get it, like that's how it works, like that's how like you leverage your brand and you align yourself with people, and like no one's above any of that. Like you can pretend to be above that, but like no one's above that. Like everyone is. It's 2017. Everybody's probably a whore in some way, shape, or form. And I don't even mean that as an insult. Like that's just the reality of capitalism and real woke hours. But I don't know. I think that take Kendrick Lamar, right? Who I don't know if you're the biggest fan of Kendrick Lamar. Like there's things I like Kendrick. There's is he the great? Like, yeah, he's probably the best rapper now, but he might not be my favorite, if that makes any sense. But he is great. Like, he's unequivocally great. But, like, Kendrick was never the guy that everyone was like, oh, Kendrick is the guy. Kendrick is the guy. Everyone was like, Blue is the guy. You know what I mean? Or
Don't you? I remember really, really early on that Dr.
Blue
Dre
was great,
No, but didn't Dr. Dre go on stage with Kendrick Lamar like super early in his career and said this is the next hope for the West Coast?
But that was already after he like kind of already developed. Like, because Kendrick had been like, I remember hearing about Kendrick I heard about him in 2009.
And then the first album comes out in what year?
Well, he was making music.
11 or
I mean, he
12.
put, I think, at C4, which is like Lil Wayne
Right.
kind of mixtape in 2009 or 2010.
Okay.
But like it's funny, sorry. I was like at a video, I've told this before, but it was like, I'm at a video shoot.
I love this story. I was going to ask you to tell the story.
For Mac 10. Did I tell you that?
This isn't the Treetop Pyru thing?
No,
okay.
that was a different
We're going to make you tell that one too then.
But that was the first time I like interviewed him. That's the only time I've interviewed him.
And so this is 09?
This is 09. So like Kendrick is, he's nobody, and I'm at like LA Times. I was writing for LA Times at the time, and they're like, "Hey, do you want to go Mac 10 has a video shoot in Malibu on the beach?" And I was like, "Sure, it's Tuesday. Why not?" Like, all right, Mac 10.
I would have said yes too.
Like, do you want to interview Mac 10?
Sure.
I'm like, yeah. Yeah, are you kidding?
Did you did an interview with him there, or you had him on your podcast?
Interview. Yeah, it was like a real like, what's up with you and Dub C? And it was like the guy next to me was like, "Don't say anything about." I was like, man.
I always forget that you do like actual interviews with like a little voice recorder, and then not like me, where I have to like figure out where I'm gonna film it from and all that stuff. Yeah,
you're doing it the right way.
And put the audio on YouTube. That's like a whole different level of.
Yeah, my interviews are just like in like a weird hard drive where like nobody, but
okay, so you
so
show
I
up.
go there and it's like this like cloudy day. It's like really depressing. It's like there's like girls on the beach in bikinis, but it's like 63 and it's like they're playing High Lie and you're like, what is going on? They're playing High Lie and there's like ice cream trucks, like, but it's like a beach video, but it's like the weather is not. And
Mac 10 and 09.
Mac 10, so it's Mac 10 and Lil Wayne is there and Rick Ross is there.
But just not as a feature, just
no, they have features on the song. So like
all of them together.
All of them together.
But not Kendrick.
No, not Kendrick. Nobody knew
he
Kendrick.
was just there.
Like,
okay.
But basically Wayne, a little known fact, Mac 10 was on Cash Money. People forget that, but like that song Shine, did you ever that song Shine with Lil Wayne? Like it was a 2001 great song, Mac 10 on it. But
also like 09 is like the years of Lil Wayne like having to prove to the world that he was a very, very serious blood, and that's probably why.
Well, I think like
wait, was Mac 10 a blood or a Crip? I don't even remember.
Mac 10 was, I think, a Crip.
Yeah, I think you're right too. So maybe it was completely different.
I mean, I know Dub C was like very
the
much
Crip.
He was the.
That's why I think of him, and I think of Crip, and then I think Mac 10 probably had to be one too.
I mean, Mac 10 actually might. I think Mac 10 actually might have been a blood.
I'm gonna find out.
Yeah, I think he might have been a blood.
Okay, continue.
But I think West Side Connection was bonded over the love of music and art, and bowing down when people come to your town, And so I'm there, and it's like this just surreal thing. Like Rick Ross is like like peak Rick Ross. He's like smoking. He has a blunt holder.
I believe Mac 10 is a blood.
Yeah.
Clean Street Inglewood blood, possibly. Okay.
And he. Good for them for having that kind of unity in West Side Connection, an underrated group. And it was just a really like boring video shoot, and some guy goes to me, he was like, "Oh, Lil Wayne comes out of his car like sagging his pants like down to his." It was ridiculous. It looked ridiculous.
And
like,
you're a traditionalist, so you told him you're killing hip hop by wearing your pants.
Yeah, I gave him that lecture.
Pull up your jeggings.
And then he slapped me across the face. And he just was so fucked up. He had like 4 girls stumbling out of like an Escalade limo, and you're just like, "Good for you, Lil Wayne. This is where you're at in life."
That's beautiful. And, I love seeing guys at that point.
He was just having a good time, and it was just weird. And then some guy goes to me because that's Kendrick. That's K-Dot, because he was K-Dot. And like he's dope. He's gonna be next. And he didn't really get next for like 2 or 3 years. But I went home. I wrote about it. It's on Passion of The Weiss, which is the website that I run and edit.
We'll get into that more too.
Yeah, we will talk about the internet and the World Wide Web. And so, anyways, I went home, listened to it. Like I wrote about his song. It was called Corrupted, and it was a tribute song. But I guess I was saying this like, and this is sort of what I'm getting at, like in my long-winded way. You kind of, I think, as an artist, most of the time, there are artists that come out fully formed. I think most artists at least have an apprenticeship at some point, and it's best to do that if you can have your apprenticeship in anonymity. And Kendrick Lamar got to have it in anonymity. So he's doing Corrupt tribute songs. He's doing Lil Wayne tribute songs. He's finding his voice as an artist. So when he finally gets that fame, he comes out and he's, most of the time, and now it's like, I think the best case scenario is like your Vince Staples, where your music is like promising, but not great for a couple of years, and then all of a sudden you kind of figure it out. And
you don't think Vince's early releases were that great?
They're good. They're not like the Hell Can Wait EP.
So to me, Matt Ox is like, he's 12. It's like if you were a college basketball scout, you'd probably be going to high school games and watching a 12-year-old and thinking,
Sebastian Telfair,
Yeah, well, I don't know anything about basketball. I'm just throwing this out there. This is how I assume it would work. Is that you'd be looking at a 12-year-old and thinking, You know, he couldn't be in the NBA right now, but look at those shoulders. Look at the way he runs.
It's like cynical.
Look at his shot. He's got all these little pieces, and you slowly, and that's kind of how I am with Matt Ox. Even is I'm like, okay, like
you like his shoulders.
Well, certainly, certainly he's not fully developed, but he's got a mean set of calves on him.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like at that age, you can't. Like, I don't know. See, the thing I look for with what I listen to is like I'm a sucker for like originality, and it's like not to say that like every artist I like is super original because that'd be bogus. I'm just a lie if I said that. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, I look for that, and I feel like it's hard to kind of for me to enjoy it unless I have that spark of originality. Although, like, I don't think Lil Uzi Vert is an original artist, but XO Tour Live is like the best song. So it doesn't. I mean, and maybe that was his break where it's like maybe I listened to him when he was like. I mean, I heard of him first when he was like rapping like Meek Mill.
Right.
And then you're like, all right, well, he raps too much like Wiz Khalifa. Right. And it's like, I didn't like Wiz at first, but then like, I wouldn't call myself the biggest Wiz fan, but you know, We Dem Boys is a classic, you know, and he's got his song. So it's, I don't know. It's like, you can't necessarily like write off somebody too early or, you know.
But then you end up in a weird position where it's like when it becomes the standard for an artist to come out when he's like, you know, 18, let's say on average. Then all of a sudden, you look at somebody like G Perico, maybe it would even be a good example where he's, you know, in his mid to, what is he, 25 probably?
He's like 20, 28.
Right. Yeah. So then you start to look at somebody like him who has, you know, had time to develop as an artist. Obviously, your mind is different as a 28-year-old as compared to an 18-year-old. He's probably much wiser than he was at that time. But it feels like if you were in the perspective of a label dude, it's a lot harder to put your time and your money behind an adult when it seems like the people tend to go for the young dude so often. I mean,
it's an interesting thing, right? Because it's like, it can go both ways. You can be somebody that like I think there's a lot of kinds of artists. You can be somebody like Rick Ross that like it clicks at 30, or 2 Chainz, right? 2 Chainz it clicks at like 35, or you can be like Earl in 16. You can be Nas in like 17. You can be Prodigy just died. So I've been thinking a lot about Prodigy, but it's like you listen to The Infamous and you're like, I'm only 19, but my mind is old. And like as a writer, you're like that's one of the best sentences I've ever heard. Like it's just it just says everything in such a simple way.
The following line really kind of helped out too.
Yeah.
And when things get for real, my warm heart turns cold.
Yeah. And it's like those are simple, easy words that like everyone knows. And like, I think that's the hardest thing with great writing. And I don't know. I think R.I.P. Prodigy.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to say my thing with Prodigy is I always felt like, you know, and a huge amount of like reverence for their catalog in general because I just grew up on that. But I always felt like as a lyricist, even in the early days, that he would have like real standout moments like that, but that he would like far too often just devolve into sort of like, you know, ambiguous or not ambiguous, but just sort of boring gun talk in a lot of ways.
Yes and no, but I think if you go back, I don't know, like I went back and listened to The Infamous, and I was like, and also like he's in a group, so I think that's like part of the thing. I think more rappers should be in groups. I think that like you look at it and you're like, I don't know, Prodigy was a great rapper, he was in a group. Like Wu-Tang came out in a group. Like even Only Built for Cuban Links, that's a group album.
But you think that Mobb Deep is better than Prodigy if Prodigy had just come out of his own? Because wasn't Prodigy at that point, writing all the Havoc shit, and Havoc doesn't have the delivery of Prodigy?
I thought Havoc, like I went back and listened, and I was like, I don't know, Havoc was pretty great, and also Havoc made those beats, so it's kind of like. I mean, those beats, it's like you'd hear those snares and it really does sound like you're being stabbed.
How would you categorize like what the lane that Mobb Deep dominated though was at that time? Because I mean, if you look back to that time period, you would have somebody like, because we're talking about what, the first album in 95?
95 was the first album.
Okay, so
well, it's technically their second because they had the Juvenile Hell album, which was like when they were, you know. So
you have like Jay-Z who's full-fledged into like the hustler.
Yeah, he's like Big Willie.
Don, mafia references out the asshole. You have Nas, who's like gangster but conscious, you know, and sort of.
Well, to be fair, I mean, 96, Nas switches it up and does It Was Written, where he's Nas Escobar.
Right, where he was trying to sort of like seize some of that.
And I think part of that is Mobb Deep. I think part of that is
this motherfucker. Come in. Look at who it is.
Oh, wow.
I've been looking at the fucking door this whole time. Have a seat. Jump on the mic.
Having an interview right now. Wait, hold on. I was knocking on the other window. Hey,
Desto Dub in here.
I'm about to link with your boy.
Who?
NBA Youngboy.
Hey, okay.
That's what I was stopping by to hear. I need a T-shirt. I had this one on since yesterday.
He's a little thirsty, huh?
Super thirsty. I don't know how thirsty he is, but his A&R is thirsty.
Right. The A&R don't want it. I don't think. I hope.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It must be the pressure. Where's he at?
We airing motherfuckers out right here. Wait.
Baton Rouge is.
Wait. We can't see Desto Dub. I'm going to move the camera.
What's up with you? Hey, yo, boy was running off of fumes yesterday.
Oh my God.
He wanted it to happen, but he was just too mixed between too much shit.
I'm going to tell this story. Jeff, I apologize for kind of derailing your interview here, but I feel like it's going to be long enough that we can do this. Lil Pump FaceTimes me last night, 2:00 in the morning.
This was going to be a Little Pump again.
Well, I just feel like the story's kind of notable.
It's always back to
because
Lil
this is an example of me. I felt like I'm going way above and beyond in terms of what a podcaster should be expected to do. And then I did it, and it didn't work out.
You could write a book on it because people think it's just really sitting down and having interviews. No, you got to deal with their drugs. You got to deal with their entourage. You got to deal with their time.
Podcast
You
etiquette.
feel me? And just because they're ready doesn't mean they're actually ready. Like mentally, he wanted to do it, but he just got to do it. We hit 3 studios last night.
That's crazy.
You know, he probably
when he FaceTimed me at 1:30 and he was geeking off something, I'm assuming Molly, then it would have been a really good interview if we had seized that exact moment. Because I'm going to be honest, I think he does so much drugs that there isn't really like an option of like a sober interview.
It'd be like when everything is at its right little time, but then sometimes one pulling you down, one pulling you up.
Well, shockingly, 2 a.m. the
it's,
interview would have been great, and 7 a.m. the interview was
it
not
was
great.
over at 7
No,
a.m.
you can't do anything at 7 a.m. That's ridiculous.
Hey.
5
But I
a.m.
was
is
trying.
The limit. 5 a.m. is the limit.
I was so dedicated to getting that podcast, even though he is my friend and I could actually get that interview like under normal circumstances. I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm not going to be a boring old man who has to go to sleep at 2 a.m.
We FaceTime. He FaceTime. You see everything black, and you just see his face. Yeah, I'm up. Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah.
Whatever you guys are.
Hey, so how do you become aware of Jeff Weiss since the spotlight is supposed to be on him here?
Oh, this is my boy.
But he wrote about you.
Yeah, this is my boy. He got it all cracking.
Yeah.
He already know. That's my
I
boy.
already-
What do you think about Desto Dub?
I mean, Born to Sell Juice is an anthem for the masses.
Sale.
Yeah, I've never even drank lean, to be honest with you. I can't. I might be kicked off this podcast. I did once, but it
That's
was
all
not real. It was not the real high quality kind of stuff that Desto Dub is.
You had
is
the
famous for.
you had the weed syrup.
Yeah, it was the shit. It was the shit that Drake got when he called it Robitussin.
I
And,
sold Jeff Weiss a pint of lean, but he didn't know I mixed it with the K-Rock.
Yeah, nah, you know.
Bars.
Re-rock.
And but yeah, man, it's he's a talented
He's a character.
talented scholar and a street pharmacist without peer.
That is a fact.
And I just made a song with Lil Pump last night.
Oh, you did. So this is what you're doing right now, though? You're stopping by just to see us before you go out on this mission? You said you want a shirt?
Yeah, I needed a shirt.
What size are you?
Yesterday. I was low-key going to get a cough syrup shirt.
If we have them, the cabinet's right there.
Yeah, I'm about to pull up on them. I ain't gonna lie, I've been running around. Like I said, I left them. I left them at 5, went back home, then came back up here, and then I low-key slept until like 3. Then at 3, I had your boy hitting me up. Where you at? We here. We're gonna be here. And then I was supposed to meet with TK while he was here with G Perico. In between, I'm arguing with my bitch in traffic.
G Perico and TK had a whole army of people out here. They're like 30 homies come through for a little bit there.
Bro, be trying to, I don't know. You see me.
Dolo.
Every time. You feel me?
Yeah, but
Niggas
you're
be out-
living illegal. They're over here just a little get together.
Yeah, they be thick. Every time I pull up somewhere, it's like 3 other meetings he having with like 3 other people.
TK's all business, yeah.
All business.
Love it.
Also a writer of Pulp Fiction. I learned.
Who?
TK.
What?
Yeah, he pulled me aside. He's like, I wrote a book. He's like, you know Paul Stewart? I was like, yeah, I do.
Wait, he wrote a book?
Yeah.
Called what?
I don't know. I'm gonna get it.
Wow, I'm gonna have to check that out
It's
too.
like that's how writer. It's like when you're a writer, like someone will be like, I do that too.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Like, I'm sorry. Whenever I meet a writer, like I always.
He got the Suge shirt.
Yeah,
Oh
I got the
my
Suge
God.
Isn't that
shirt.
insane?
Ready.
That is crazy.
And he wears it. There's like 20 Crips in the backyard, and he comes through in that amazing shirt.
Mistake me for a blood. yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, guys.
Well, that's kind of like that's
yeah.
kind of a Crip shirt too, because it's like a blood dude, like
Yeah,
an
it's
evil
like,
blood
look,
dude burning
it is,
in
yeah.
hell. I don't know.
I mean,
funny.
Suge at this point is a outlaw immortal.
Yeah, at this point, he's like a fucking.
Well, he's kind of like
He's like a bully mogul.
But how big is Suge Knight's street cred on the street if he was like out in a free man
Look,
right
listen
now?
Listen here. This is the thing about Suge. Whether whatever is going on, people think he's up. A person would do anything if an up nigga asks him. Guaranteed. If shit came up, if your blood and shit ask you to do some shit, you're gonna do it.
And I mean,
You don't want to risk saying no to Suge.
Yeah, like not even like it's just like this. You can if he asks you for a favor, you can do that.
My dad actually knows.
His favors that you can ask him for are way bigger than yours.
It's just funny because my dad like has met Suge Knight apparently a bunch of times. Like,
What does your dad do?
He's a lawyer, but like my dad has like had like weird celebrity encounters constantly. Like he's got a good Dennis Rodman story too. We got a lot of good stories. But
Wow,
Suge Knight,
that's
like
cool.
he's convinced is like a really good person. And like so like every time Suge Knight goes to jail, like my dad will be like, as though I've never heard the story before. He's like, Suge Knight's a really good person. He's a nice guy, nice guy.
But is this your dad doing?
I don't know, Dad. Like,
But this is what people do: is they meet a famous person. The famous
couple
person's
times,
nice to him for 20 minutes, and then they're like, "He's a great guy."
That's
a real
Dennis
nigga.
Rodman.
He didn't
That's a
rape
real
those
nigga
people.
Right there. No, he couldn't do that. He's a nice guy.
He got in
You
a
see it
fight
all
with,
the
he got
time.
in a fight with Rodman though. He didn't like Dennis Rodman.
Your dad?
Yeah, I guess he was foreshadowing the North Korean thing. So
Wow.
he maybe was right. Yeah, it was Dennis Rodman didn't like lawyers apparently, which understandably.
Right.
And but they had a beef, and yeah, it was some words were exchanged.
That's so cool to be from LA and to have like a dad who's like met famous people. Like my dad.
It's not cool. My dad is
It's
just
cool
an
to be
asshole.
from LA and have a dad. That actually does something.
Shout out to Dad. Just in
Actually
general.
does something.
Shout out to dads that
What's
do
your dad
that.
doing?
Chilling.
Chilling a little too hard.
See, like where I come from.
I saw your Father's Day post of your
Yeah,
dad.
no. Where I come from, no, it's like our main shit is like, okay, you go and try shit, and then evidently you get booked, and then after a while, you like your whole life is at least I'm not in jail or dead. So that's your main two things you're trying to stay away from. You're not even trying to reach any higher goals. You're just trying to stay alive or out of jail. Period. And that's what he did. So I can't be mad at him. He was never in jail, and he's still here. But like as far as like them dads that done reached all that shit and up there or whatever, you feel me?
It feels so hopeless when I'm having a conversation with like Perico, and I'm talking to him about like how people from his neighborhood feel like they have to have a gun from a very young age, and basically it's like you're a clown if you don't, because you're walking around naked. Like people could do whatever the fuck they want to you, but then what's he go to jail for? A fucking gun case. It's like from the very beginning he's got to commit an illegal act just to be able to travel around his neighborhood and shit. That's just like, it's putting him into such a fucking trap from day one.
We are from the hood. Don't get it twisted. It be the motherfuckers that continue and want to dingle and dabble in the hood. You feel me? You can take your talents elsewhere, so you don't have to walk around with a gun. You don't have. You don't.
I
have
mean,
to walk
there
around
are
over
plenty
there.
of people like who. I mean, I don't know. Like
It's based on the shit
DJ
you do.
Dahi
You don't
grew up in,
carry a gun
like,
because you're a
crazy.
neighborhood. You carry a gun because of what you did and people trying to come back at you.
Right.
You feel me? You carry your gun for not trying to get robbed. Okay, don't wear the shit that they trying to rob you for. So you don't have to carry a gun, bro. I don't carry burners. Period. You fuck with me, I'm gonna come back, but I'm not carrying burners because it's worse.
Just
You
asking
driving
for
with
it,
them,
right?
Yeah, it's like, and then it
So
puts you in that
get you-
mind state.
They
It puts
get
you in that
with
mind state like, I got a gun.
Most people go to jail because of guns or weed. That's
Yeah.
like you know what I mean, and that's when they get in the system.
All these
You-
rappers.
You
I'm
violate
not with the
probation. you're
gun
in jail
shit.
for
I'm not
years.
with the gun shit at all. Don't ride around with a gun. Don't carry a gun. This is Los Angeles. This is not Atlanta. This is not Florida.
It's not
But
Texas.
also,
yeah,
you're an adult.
It's not open carry.
You're kind of far removed from being like a 16-year-old too. So don't you feel like you're not going to end up in a lot of
When
situations
I was
like
16, I was still running around with my boys, and we didn't need no fucking pistols. You
Right.
wanted it? Well, look, if you want it, we can lock it up. Me and you face to face, boom. What do you need a burner for? And I'm not doing no shit where a nigga trying to come back and pop me. Now, if you doing that, then you need a burner. You twisting niggas, you robbing niggas.
And you grew up in
cool.
Watts, right?
Huh?
And you grew up in Watts, right?
Yeah, I grew up. No, I
so-
grew up in Watts and in Crenshaw for
Yeah,
Slauson.
so-
like, I know you only carry a gun when you do shit and niggas is trying to come back for you. If you don't do shit, you don't need it.
Interesting.
Nobody like, oh, your little kid grew up in the hood, mom went to work, he went to school, he need a gun to walk home. No. You get robbed one time, cool. Next time, just don't walk to school with your shit. You don't have to carry a gun not to get robbed.
Yeah.
Don't carry the shit to get robbed.
Right.
Niggas not running up on you, hey, no.
I feel
It's
you.
not like that. People just make it seem like that because they put themselves in that predicament to do shit like
Well,
that.
I feel it's like part of it is like, I mean, I think in his instance, I think it's true, but I think part of it's also like the mythology of kind of rappers, kind of, it's like, I think it's like a different. There's a lot of people like you know what I mean. Like the hood isn't monolithic. I don't
Bro,
think.
I've been in the hood my whole fucking life.
Wrong. You live in downtown LA now.
Well, most of it. My whole, all the way up to like 23.
Okay.
23, I've been in the hood. I went in high school, I was walking to school, I was catching the bus. I never got a ride to school a day in my life,
Right.
ever. So I done been through it all. And it's like, if you walking around looking like some shit, they gonna get on you.
Ask Jeff a question.
How long you been growing your hair? I don't know.
I don't know.
a couple years now. I'm
years
trying to just live my life like Jesus and live accordingly. Not a religious person, but
I see you be going up on the gram.
Yeah,
you be going up.
Yeah.
I be seeing this nigga everywhere.
Yeah.
Vegas, 10 weeks in a row. I be like, do he got a register?
Yeah, I got a residency at Dre's. Yeah. It was me and Ray. I'm the third member of Ray Strummer now. Slim Jeffrey.
Oh man! All right, so let's get this other Kendrick Lamar story out of you. This one where you saw him backstage at this awards show or whatever.
No, I didn't. Well, you were talking. All right, so I already told the story about how I met him in like 09, whatever, and I'm sure he remembered me. And so I had to do an interview with the Hollywood Reporter, and so they flew me out to Vegas, and it was right when Kendrick was doing his like first big Grammy performance, and I watch him like do this whole thing with Imagine Dragons, like they're coming up with their idea, and I'm like, bad idea, don't do the thing with it. Like, don't do the Imagine Dragons thing. But
is this surreal for you? Because he's already huge at this point.
I don't give a fuck about anyone, to be honest. There's nothing like, I mean, surreal, yes, but like the fame aspect, like I could care less. I think everybody, here's the thing.
But just how weird it is.
Fame, right? Like I was like, honestly, a homeless person to me, like if I was with, I was to interview Diddy this week and that would have been cool as fuck, right? Mm-hmm. But if honestly, like talking to a homeless person is the same as talking, it's all the same. It's people are people, And like
fame fucks up the real
fame
people,
fucks
bro.
up.
Fame fucks you up, and it's not even your fault.
Yeah.
It's not your fault.
Okay, but Kendrick and Imagine Dragons is like, if you were just sitting at home, you would be like penning like a sarcastic tweet about like probably how weird this was.
So but Kendrick, it was funny. Like Kendrick had bad ideas and like of course good ideas, and Kendrick, I know, of course, Imagine Dragons like that's amazing. Like what are Imagine Dragons going to do? Argue with Kendrick? So they have like these good, and they had have a couple of ideas, and like to give credit to Kendrick and Dave Free, who's a very smart, talented guy. They're like, let's do this. So I go do that. I watch this whole thing. Then I get invited up to the hotel suite, like to do the story. Right? It's like top of the Cosmopolitan, like everything looks like fucking champagne glasses exploding like chandeliers. It's like view of the neon of Las Vegas, and it's like me. I think Punch was there. Dave Free is there. The publicist is there. A couple other people are there, and like Kendrick, Kendrick's maybe 5'5", but like carries himself like he's 6'5", and he looks at me like, and he's like, "Where you from?" And I'm like, at first, like, I'm from like the Hollywood Reporter. I live in LA. Like, I figure he's like, what publication, and then I'm like, he's like, nah, dog, where you from? So I'm like, oh, Kendrick Lamar's banging on me. And so I just look at him and I'm like Treetop Pyru. and so like everyone starts laughing, of course, because like turns out I'm not Treetop Pyru, which I know I've been giving the people on No Jumper that wrong
huge
impression.
Bummer.
The Suge shirt gave it away, but gave it a false impression. But so then like he laughed and it was cool, and we had a good interview, and I don't know, I feel like you're an artist. I feel like when you talk to someone and they know that you know what you're talking about and you're not trying to be anyone but yourself, then people will respect you. It doesn't matter like how corny, like, what I mean? Like, it does matter how corny you are, but like if you're just an honest person and like you're not putting on a pretense and like you seem invested in a decent way, people will be kind to you and will tell you the truth.
Yeah.
I was always fascinated by that story though, just because to me, if I was around someone who actually grew up in a gang neighborhood, I probably would not want to like jokingly claim the gang.
But see here, you know how to be around. You know how to be around black people, and how he.
But he doesn't know him like that either. I'll say some shit to you like that.
If you don't know, they know for a fact you're not from there. There's no way 100% that you're not from there.
Yeah.
But they know that they can fuck with you like that. So if you fuck with him back, it's like he
right.
know how to deal with black people.
Yeah,
you feel me?
Like, I was just in Dallas, right? Like last week with.
I'm gonna grab another beer. Anybody else want one?
Yeah.
I'll take one. So I have a label, POW Recordings. Listen to everyone. Mm-hmm. And this guy TYE is a really dope artist from Dallas, and he took me to the cliff, South Oak Cliff, and I was of course the only white person there. There was like a watermelon fight, and he just looks at me and he's like, "Motherfucker," he's like, "You do not blend."
Yeah.
And like, but he was like, "You've been in this situation before. You're cool with it." And I feel like that's, it's just like people are people.
Yeah. Like,
you know what I mean? Like
same thing. Like you met Fizzle, my producer.
Yeah.
Fizzle would do the same thing because he know like.
Yeah.
They know I'm not from shit.
Now
Phil's
all I
like,
do is hang with Jews. And
yeah,
that's what I told him. I was like,
yeah.
he's with the turkey. He's like, Fizzle's like that.
Yeah, so like they know. Some people might think of it more than what it is. Like if I was to go up to like, if Nip was to go up to like you and be like, "What's up with you?" You'll know what to say. Like, shit, I don't know what you want me to be up with me. But then somebody be like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Like, if you want them to be that serious, you can take it. But if you've been around black people, most of the time, everybody wants a funny white friend.
Yeah, and I feel like if you're a white dude in hip hop, you just have to know your role. And like, hopefully I try to kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I was talking to Alex Russell, who is Asian and was doing like a piece about 21 Savage, kind of early on. Yeah. And I only say he's Asian to say that, you know, he's not a guy who visibly looks like he's in a gang or whatever. And like he said that 21 kind of gave him a hard time because he like pulled him aside because he had his legs crossed with the wrong leg over the other leg. And I always thought that was pretty interesting. That like,
well, they'll fuck with you. Yeah, don't get it twisted. If you're wearing like a bandana on the right hand side, a nigga say some shit like, "Hey, bro, that's on the wrong side. Take it off." Yeah. You feel me? But they'll be fucking with you. But if you want to take it serious, you be like, "Okay, well, let me put it on the other side then." But if you be like, it's like, damn, bro, you a little buster.
What were you about to say?
I was gonna say, what do you say when people say, you know, like incriminating people? You know what I mean? Like random shit, like where they're like, "Oh, you're." People get that, you know, like as a white person, about people they'll say shit on the internet about like, you know, what do you tell people?
About what?
Anything if they come at you.
Yeah, if they come at you like that, you know, like.
I'm also just don't respond because I feel like I'm intentionally offending people, like quite often with like my tweets or the things I say and do. It's like I'm trying. I consider this podcast in a lot of ways, and I know it's kind of lame to like admit to trolling, but there's definitely like a lot of things, like especially on Twitter, that
like your Mad Ox things are pretty clear troll, which is fun.
Or like you know, me,
I think it's funny.
I did a meme that was just straight up like it was
Iggy, or
it was Bernie Sanders saying like I am horrified by this disaster or by this atrocious act, and I wrote like, you know, me when I'm listening to mumble rap and somebody puts on some bullshit from the 90s, and then the next day I'm like tweeting about Prodigy because he died, and people are like, I thought you hated music from the 90s. I'm like, bro, no. But you know, like, I mean, I don't really like to respond to people who are like, I'm just so far past the idea that everybody's supposed to like me. I get it that I'm almost like a caricature at this point to certain people. I'm a caricature of what I actually am. And I'm like, you know, I get that. Like, there's a lot of people I don't like. And it's not like I've watched every single podcast of theirs. I watched all their YouTube videos. It's like, I get it. Like, you're not supposed to like everybody. And I get it.
I'm always shocked when someone likes me. They're like, I fuck with you. I'm like, oh, thanks.
Especially,
really?
Especially like, in the rap shit.
I'm used to being, I mean, I don't know. I was hated my whole life. Like, so it's kind of like, I mean, not like on, but like, I don't know. Like, I talk my shit. Like, I played basketball. Like, I played baseball. Like, I would get into fights with people, you know? Like, I wouldn't back down. So, like, I don't know. Like
I was never the most liked person growing up, so like it blows my mind that I could be like popular to whatever extent. So then like the large percentage of people that also hate me in relationship to me being well liked by some segment of people, it's like I totally get it because I had a lot more of that back in the day, just to, like percentage
totally.
wise.
I'm doing better.
Yeah, I'm doing a little better.
People like me. Like, all right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like you listen, you learn, you try to get better, and like hopefully it works itself out. And if not, then you can, you know.
So you
drink these fine Pabst Blue Ribbons.
Yeah. This is real shit right here. Yeah. So you get out of college and like you went to college to be a writer.
No, good God, no.
Okay.
No, I was like a baseball player, honestly. I played college baseball. I played basketball in high school and shit. And I thought I'd be a baseball player. And then I realized everyone was on steroids and I wasn't. I was like, fuck, man. I should enjoy. Yeah,
everyone was on steroids.
I was good. No, I wasn't like amazing, but I was a very good baseball player. But I just didn't juice. And then everyone was juicing. And
everyone.
Not this kind of juice,
right.
But like the steroids, the Winstrol.
Born to sail
not
juice.
Everyone, but like I was half the starting lineup was on steroids. And it just wasn't. They didn't. I was like, I don't think so.
Yeah,
I'm good. Like, it was like one of those things where it's like, I'm a pretty realistic guy. So I was like, I think you could play like AA on steroids. I was like, what's the point of like making $10,000 a year and riding a bus in the middle of like Dubuque for $10,000 a year just to prove that
you're drug free?
Yeah, and just have like I'm good. So I didn't do steroids, and then I was like,
So what age was that you decided you didn't want to be a juice head?
About 20.
Juice
head.
20.
I was about 20.
Make a movie where it's like me selling juice.
You gotta stop talking if you're gonna get away from that mic, Desto.
That shit works though.
Steroids?
Steroids works like a motherfucker.
Oh yeah.
Like all the guys on my team, I was like, you got really good. You know, but I didn't do that. And then I just like I started. What actually happened was, on my college baseball team, I pledged a fraternity and then de-pledged a fraternity my freshman year. I didn't even know what a fraternity was.
What's de-pledging?
Like, so basically I show up to like, and they're like, oh, you're like gonna be this good baseball player, like be in our fraternity. And I was like, they're like, you'll get girls. And I was like 17 years old at the time. I was like, that sounds good. I like girl, but I should have known better because I showed up the first day and they're like only playing Social Distortion. And I'm like, I'm going. It was like back in the CD era. I'm like, where's your rap?
All things considered, Social Distortion's not bad in my book.
They were ruined for me. I never heard them at the time. I was like, oh, like Sublime, and they're like, no. And but So anyways, I depledged. I basically went through most of the stuff up until Hell Week, and I was just like, fuck this. I hate fraternities. This is bullshit. And I just don't like to be told what to do ever. And
G Perico's in a similar boat.
yeah, that's why I fuck with G Perico. I'm like, oh, like you're very different from me, but you know,
both rebels.
Yeah, and so then I depledged, and then basically my junior year, a bunch of guys on my baseball team pledges fraternity, and one of them died in a hazing accident. They went to Las Vegas on a scavenger hunt, and all these guys in the fraternity were on the baseball team. The car crashed. He fell asleep at the wheel. It was this whole hazing bullshit that, you know, and he dies. And then I started writing a book about it because I wanted to kind of tell the story of his life. I didn't want it to go, you know, and then I was like, fuck, I guess you're a writer. This sucks. And I was like, how am I going to make a living? And then, you know, I studied history and English, and then I just was like, all right, I got to make a living. And then I started writing about, I started originally I was like, oh, I'll just finish this book. And somehow blogs existed at the time.
What year are we talking?
I started writing the book in the early mid 2000s, and then I started like a blog in 2005. So it was an early music blog. I was like right out of school, and
2005.
Yeah, it was like one of the earlier.
That's
hip-hop.
really
Yeah,
early because it's like Now Right is like 2006, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of just like just talking my shit. It wasn't like necessarily like and it's still not a rap blog. It's just kind of whatever I'm into. And
I think I was looking at Cocaine Blunts in like 2003 though.
Yeah, he was definitely before me. I didn't even know he existed, to be honest. I mean, like I have respect for Nas, but I didn't.
You ever met him?
Yeah.
How's that?
Yeah, it was good. I went to his record store.
Really?
We had a burger. It was a good time.
See, that's what I've thought
Talked
about
about rap
doing.
music.
Go to the Bay,
Yeah, go to
hit
the-
him up. Hey, can I
he's
come
a
through
good
the record store?
He was a lot, you know, he's a normal guy.
Yeah.
know-
There's like at least one video of him like kind of talking on like a panel on YouTube, so I kind of know what he's like in real life.
Talking.
We're talking about
Dude.
Andrew Nas, N-O-Z, at N-O-Z on Twitter, just in case anybody's confused. He's the rare guy who like could have a lot of viral tweets, but he keeps his shit on private just so
I
like.
have a lot of respect for that. Like, fuck that. Fuck the internet.
No, it's kind of cool. He takes himself out of the relatability equation right there by going private.
Yeah, man. I want to disappear into the void. But
I don't
here
think you're
am.
gonna find those shirts. I think we sent them off to the shipment center just for the record. Just so you know, we do our shipping from a third-party place in La Mirada.
No jumper. I'm disappointed Robeson's not here. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, should I have brought him?
Yeah.
Do you guys have a relationship?
I'd met him like once. I'm a Robesman fan.
No, we could do
Who
that
isn't
again.
a Robesman fan?
We could do a host chat with you on it again,
That'd
so
be
sort
great.
of throw him in the mix too.
That'd be amazing.
Love Robesman.
Yeah. I'm Team Robesman.
Roseman's a great guy, and he's
Yeah.
really kind of made something out of his like occasional co-host spot. here.
Totally. Yeah, you put him on. I love the fact that his name is Bob Dabalina. That's my favorite part about
How
Robesman.
is that
He's
real,
definitely
right?
Mr. Bob Dabalina.
Bob Dabalina.
Did you ever hear that Del the Funky Homo Sapien song?
Yeah, yeah.
His name's like Bob
Yeah.
Dabalina. Yeah, but I
But-
just think it's amazing.
and his parents like knew that was going to
They
be a
couldn't
popular
have known.
song way
Yeah, like-
before that song
yeah,
came out.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes it happens. Like, honestly, the name Jeffrey has been redeemed by Young Thug. You know how happy that makes me?
Yeah,
Real happy.
okay. And
Like,
I don't know
had to
Jeffrey.
deal- And yeah, I don't know Jeffrey. Yeah,
There you go.
Yeah, I had to deal with Ja Rule my whole life, and nothing against Ja
Ja
Rule,
Rule.
but he's not the Jeffrey that I want to have the pride and respect of Jeffries. And all of a
Right.
sudden, Young Thug comes along, and I'm like, yeah, me too.
What about me too? Yeah.
Yeah.
Your existence?
What's up?
Yeah.
I'm here too.
Same.
I'm living large.
Yeah.
As a Jeffrey.
Welcome to Atlanta. Okay, so let me ask you this: has rap always been your primary favorite style of music?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like growing up in the '90s in LA, when like Dr. Dre and Snoop were coming up, it's like, what else? And Quick, you know, what else are you gonna like? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
you know, but how you gonna hear the Chronic and be like, I don't know. I think I like Amy Grant. You know, Paula Abdul. I mean, I fuck with Paula Abdul. Though, no lie. Like Paula Abdul. I covered the Lakers for a while for LA Weekly, and I went into Jeannie Buss's office, and she had a Paula Abdul thing, and I was like, that's respect.
Yeah.
Who still makes your hands? Who will still make your hands sweaty when you meet them?
Desto Dub.
Desto Dub definitely.
Two Bs.
Who would be? Man. You know, I'm gonna be real with you. Like, I just did a story, and it should be. I don't know when this is gonna run, but it comes out July 2nd in the Washington Post, and it was like on these writers in the Beat Generation, and like this is clearly not the No Jumper audience, but they're all like old 90-year-old poets, you know, 95-year-old poets, 85-year-old poets, right? And to me, those are the people that I would like. There's a writer named Gary Snyder. And this dude, he won the Pulitzer Prize in 1976 for like this amazing book called Turtle Island. He's like a Zen Buddhist, like
He did shit to
scholar.
you.
So that fool, like I interviewed him, and like, that was like, you just met Mr. Miyagi, and Mr. Miyagi, fuck, you know what I mean? So someone like that, that is someone who I would get like, you know, like I was gonna meet Puffy this week, right? And that'd be cool as shit. Like I can't imagine anyone like more impressed. You know what I mean? Who you'd want to meet more than Puffy, or like. But to me, that would be like.
But Puffy, you still gonna be on your shit. But
Puffy,
you
I'm
meet
like,
the other dude, you gonna be.
Well, that fool. I mean, that fool. Like that was the equivalent. Of, it's like, you know, you can make a joke, but this guy was just like, you'd ask him a question like, oh, well, what do you know? I asked him a question because he a lot of his theme was like goddess worship. And so
respecting women.
Yeah, yeah.
Feminist. He said, what is a feminist?
Yeah, we are all. Yeah.
Goddess worship is another way to say it.
No, but I thought that was interesting because I was like, okay, well, in American culture, we have somebody like a Beyonce or Kim Kardashian, and our form that is kind of in a way, Nicki Minaj, how people talk about them is a form of goddess worship in a way, you know, and obviously we do it, you know, male god worship too, but like the way that they are kind of talked about a lot is similar to the way these deities were. But he would just, you know, he'd just be like, okay, well, what goddesses are you talking about? And you'd be like, all right, well, blah, 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 blah. And then it'd be like, okay, well, what do they do? You know what I mean? And like, it's just he'd Socratic method you. So you just be, so that is like, to me, is like someone that I would be really like, but you know.
Yeah.
Which is a really exciting answer.
I think I was like.
Little Peep is the answer.
Oh, okay. I was blatantly pretty nervous.
Little Peep is always the answer.
My Master P interview, I think I was pretty.
Say that.
I was nervous. Like.
Master P?
I mean.
I bet he's cool as shit though.
Yeah, he's cool. But I mean, he hits it on all cylinders. Like, crazy rich, crazy famous. Crazy hood, like, and it just has an aura about him. Like he's physically intimidating. Like he looks like he could fucking rip your head off pretty easy.
Huge.
And he rolls with a lot of guys. He rolls with his whole family. He's just so official.
Yeah,
it's
but on the same time, like everyone has fucked up in their lives, so you have to like realize, like, you know what I mean? Like he signed Ricky Williams to that horrible fucking football deal. Like everyone does stupid shit. So it's like on some level, like everyone is like flawed and fucked up, and like, so you can't. I don't know. I just don't believe like.
Well, and it's always weird when you do an interview, and then you know, with almost every artist who's like older, it's like you don't get to do the narrative of like, oh, you won. You know, like if you were interviewing Lil Uzi Vert right now, you could have that notion of like, look, you're winning right now. But with Master P, even it's like he's made so much fucking money, he's accomplished so much, but at the end of the day, it's like the fan base probably has moved on, and probably I don't know what kind of numbers he does when he puts something out, but you definitely get the vibe that he's not happy about the state of the music industry, which is the thing that made him rich.
I mean, like, but ultimately, like, isn't like that's the thing, and I think that's where like, I mean, I'm sure like he's a wise man. Like, there's no denying that Master P has like a lot of wisdom, but it's like if you're measuring like, you know, success, that's like a kind of a pursuit for chumps. Like on some level, it like has to be about, because the only thing you're going to be happy about is like what you create, like, and you know if it's good or not. And like, you know, there was like I don't really like to quote Woody Allen because I respect women, and Woody Allen does not respect women. But he had a good point once, and he was like, look, they're like, why do you not go to the Academy Awards? He's like, because if I listen to them when they tell me I'm good, I have to listen to them when they tell me I'm bad. And like that to me is like that was a kind of a wise statement, because shit, like I don't, you know, you should know.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like I have a hard time engaging with like fans who want to just praise the fuck out of me, because in my head I've already written off the opinion of people who dislike me, to the extent that like when someone is enthusiastic about it, it's almost hard for me to even like break down that wall and acknowledge that I care about their opinion of what I'm doing in general.
It's great. I think it's great to be loved, but I think at the same time, like, you know, like it doesn't matter, like, you know, like at the same time, but it's a cool feeling when someone like, it doesn't matter, like anyone that fucks with your work is like, I think like it's a blessing to be like, you know, if you have one fan, that's cool. There's a lot of people that like their only fan is their, you know, parent, and a lot of people don't even have that, you know. So it's like, if anyone fucks with you, that's, you know, it's
cool. It's just sometimes I feel like I'm kind of lying when I'm like, you know, I just don't know how to act like super thankful for it, because the truth is that I'm not really trying. I don't want to be judging myself on somebody else's scoreboard. I want to be on my own, you know?
Yeah.
All right, let's go into a deep psychological analysis of you.
You want to? I'm gonna try to do it to you too.
We're talking about respecting women. I left my girl in the car asleep. I love y'all. I'm gonna hit you tomorrow, Joe. How long you back for?
I'm here for a minute. Yeah, I'm here to next month.
Later, Dub. I'm gonna move the camera back to the 2-seater. I love that just happened.
Yeah. It's a very Kramer-esque moment. I feel like that's the Kramer.
Well, him of all people too, because you've written about him. You were very early on writing about him.
Great, yeah. Thanks to you. You put me up on him.
That was great. Yeah, because my viral tweet where I said my lean man made a music video, and it's the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's great.
which tons of people use
I
to
think he's a
accuse
really
me
good
of.
rapper, honestly. I want to put out his record. I was telling him, I was like, let's do this shit.
I support that.
I was like, Desto Dub, come on, POW Recordings. It's an Army, a Navy, a Coast Guard, a Marine Reserve.
So tell me about POW Recordings.
It's a label I started about. Basically, what happened was I have a website, passionoftheweiss.com, and it, I'm proud of it. We have like 20 or so really talented writers, I think, and I've been doing it for I guess 12 years now somehow, and with a lot of help. And at a certain point, like basically it kind of started because I don't know if you know who Chester Watson is. Amazing, talented person. Like he kind of, I always tell him to people, he's sort of like a mad villain in one, but he's like now 20. But I discovered him when he was 16. And he sent me a video, and he was like, which is, don't send me your video, please. You can, but like I probably won't watch it. But he was like, you won't regret this. And I don't know, I look for people who have like unorthodox brains, and I was like, oh, that's a weird thing for a 16-year-old's brain to be like, you won't regret this. I was like, that's a level of confidence. So
That's cool because I feel like I get that exact statement all the time.
And usually you regret it.
I just don't. I don't know if I've ever clicked a random link.
I clicked on it, and I was like, this is amazing, and now has 800,000 views. But you'd hit like 3,000 at the time. And I wrote about it, and it took off, and I tried to get him signed to places, and no one wanted to sign him at the time. And I mean, now he's a lot bigger, and I mean, he really is one of the most talented people I've ever met. And shout out Chester, shout out New Age, and basically. We put out his record, and we're going to put out another record called Past Cloaks, and it did well. And so now we have TYE from Dallas, Ness Knight from Minnesota, now lives in New York. This kid Vince Ash from Hammond is incredible. Jordan Raff is an incredible singer. Pioneer 11 psychedelic rock band. Natia from Inglewood is amazing. And I'm forgetting somebody else, and they're going to kill me. But, Gabe Nandez from New York. Bam. I think that's all of them.
I'm going to be honest, I don't think I'm familiar with any of these people.
Well, they're all amazing.
I'm blowing
Adam,
it,
You're fucking slipping. I sent you a DM. I was like, check this shit. Vince Ash is amazing.
Did you?
Do
Fuck.
style, yeah. You don't even check. I slid into Adam's DM.
Did I just not respond?
Yeah, you did like a dick.
Damn, that's
I
fucked
slid
up.
and I got rejected.
God,
you don't respect me.
I do that to people all the time, and I feel bad about it, but it
now
just
that-
feels like it's just kind of part of where I'm at.
Yeah, just that celebrity laissez-faire that you have now.
I don't know. Like, are you familiar with Greedo?
Yeah, I fuck with Greedo.
I love Greedo. Well, TK has been trying to tell me about Greedo for like 6 months, and I never even looked it up. And then I fucking go, I watch fucking Mafia Business. I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. Yeah. This is fucking one of the best things I've heard from like a local LA kid in like forever. And TK was telling me about it for 6 months, and I'm just over here in my own little fucking world.
You know what? Like nothing matters. It's, when you get to it, you get to it. And like people, I mean, I understand why. Like people are hungry and people want to make it. People want to be validated. People want their art to be heard. But at the same time, like you can only do the best you can. So it's like your time is fucking limited. You're out doing Little Pump podcast till 7 a.m. Little Pump casts.
I got home at 8:30.
Oh, that's brutal.
God, it was. Yeah. Hey, but okay, so let me say this is like.
Talk more about me.
Do you get a lot of pleasure out of the A&R thing of like sitting around listening to a shitload of new artists?
Pleasure about anything. No, it's a lie. I like reading. I like a lot of
I don't really. I guess I
reading.
could say I like reading. I have a really hard time sitting back with a book. My attention span is tough for that these days.
Yeah, it's the internet, and phones and shit. But no, I mean, I do like discovering new artists. That's like to me, that's my favorite thing about music. I mean, like I love like listening to the Young Thug album. That shit, the Migos album made me really. Vince Staples album makes me really happy. The artist and the label, obviously. But I mean, I do like having a label in the sense where it's like I would never tell an artist like how to make their music. I mean, but it's kind of nice to be able to have some like way to kind of shape and be a part of something. I think like I'm a student of history on some level. I majored in it, and I love music history. And you realize that like labels are a valuable part of it. And people want to be like, oh, you don't need a label. You don't need a label. It's like, well, like I don't know, like Atlantic, like. Think about Atlantic, like Ahmet Erdogan discovering Ray Charles or putting him on and giving them the support, or like more recently Stones Throw in LA, or like
maybe
Fourth
you
and
don't,
Broadway, or like
maybe you don't need a label, but there's a very, very good chance that the people at the label know a lot of stuff that you don't know.
Yeah, totally. I mean, look, like a lot of the artists that you've had in your show, like they probably don't need a label. Like those guys, like they don't need a label now they might, but they didn't need a label at first. But like not everyone works on different tracks, and like it's stupid when people when people give you advice, it's always, I mean, look, it's usually from a good place, or not always, but sometimes it is. But advice is different for everybody. Like your advice for one artist is going to be completely different for another artist.
Right.
You know, there's not like one way. If there was one way to blow up, I think people would have figured it out by now.
So you get an artist on your label, and what are the things that you consider to be that you're in charge of once you sign somebody?
I tell them, make the biggest pop radio hit. I say, listen to that Little Uzi Vert and do everything. No, I mean, I don't know. I like, honestly, just like, I honestly, like, I sign them. If I'm working with them, it's for a reason. So I saw something in them that I think is unique and singular, and I want them to kind of double down on that. The only thing I really want them to do is be the most honest version of themselves. Don't give a fuck about like whether it's gonna blow up, whether you think this is the hit. I don't fucking care. If the song is good, it'll do. It'll work. You know, it's like it's an indie label. It's not a major label, you know. I don't fucking care. I mean, like, yeah, I'd love to have a hit. That could be cool, like, you know. But like, I'm trying to like, maybe it's pretentious, but like, I'm trying to put out good art. And like, if nobody fucked with it, like in 10 years, and I could look back and be like, I put out a lot of good records. I wrote a lot of good stories. I wrote a couple books. I wrote like a movie, a TV show. Like, I don't care if any of them. I mean, yeah, I want them to succeed, but if they're good, that's all that matters. If you know that they're good, like at the end of the day. But whatever, everyone wants money. Who am I?
Do you feel like
who am I to say?
Do you feel like a kind of anachronism though, in the sense that you are very much like doing it like out of your heart in terms of like the types of content you make and the content that you're putting out and stuff?
Yes and no. I think like there's a lot of. I think it's like. It's short-sighted to think that like I'm the only person doing. There's a lot of talented people that are doing it from their heart and whatever. I do think like the way the world works. I mean, look, but I also don't fault like anyone. Like we're in America in 2017. Donald Trump is the fucking president. If that's your fucking role model, like how are you going to blame somebody for trying to get money? People need to eat. People need to pay mortgages, rent. All that shit is expensive. People need their $9 coffees.
Yes, we do.
You know, so I don't know, but I do think. I do like honestly like maybe I'm misguided, but I do think that if you do things the right way, eventually like people fuck with it. Like people will care. You know, I think if you're honest and people like there's enough good people out there where like people be like, all right, well like this guy's maybe not doing but like I fuck with that person, you know, and I have to believe that because it's been the story of human history.
Right.
You know, not to get all like fake deep.
Okay, but so has the supposed progress of the internet, because you could argue that like rap writing might have been at a high point in like 2006 or 7 or 8 or when the Tumblr revolution was going hard, right?
That's not an inaccurate statement.
Right.
I mean, and look, if you're talking about reported journalism, the reporting was probably the best in the late 90s, not because in the mid 90s. Not necessarily because those were better writers. I think that's like a myth. Like there's talented writers now, but because these magazines would be like, the source would be like, okay, we'll do a story on Cuba, hip hop. You know what I mean?
Straight up
the budgets were
budgets.
crazy.
Right.
Like expense accounts are wild. Like I don't, you know, like now, like I do pretty well as a writer, and sometimes like you'll get a budget. You know what I mean? Like Playboy sent me to Israel. Like that's all. You know, Spin has sent me to Alaska. Like I've got sent like to Japan. You know what I mean? Like I've got cool stories, but the budgets are certainly not what they were, and I think that produces worse journalism. It's like that's why regional scenes, like, you know, a lot of the time, I'll do it on my own, like, and I'll negotiate more money, but I'll ultimately make less money in the long run, but I'll pay my own expenses. I'll go out there and kind of do it on my own because I care. But yeah, I think it has gotten a little worse. I think people don't care about like. Sometimes I think like, you know, as a writer, I'm like a loss leader. People are not going to get the traffic, but they'll want me there because they know that it'll hopefully be good. I think now it's more of a matter of like news stories are what drives traffic. You know, reviews aren't what drives traffic. Features aren't really what drives traffic. And it's compromised because in a way you're doing a feature on an artist, right? You're not going to do a feature on a young artist who's maybe not popping because like whatever, he has 2,000 followers a reach week with 20 tweets, 20 clicks. But like say you'll do an artist, I'm like, I don't know, like someone like Big Sean, who's like fine. Like Big Sean is just fine. You know?
Well, he's good.
He's fine. Yeah.
Not exactly in love with his character or his content necessarily, but he's definitely good at rapping.
Like a nice guy. He can
got
rap.
some nice beats.
But like,
he says some funny stuff here and there.
He's fine. Yeah. Like
I listened to that last album a bunch of times and I just found myself being very okay with it.
Here's the thing, like has some talent. I can't imagine willingly listening to Big Sean for fun, but fine. Yeah.
That might have been the
Sean.
branding that would have put him over the edge, and maybe you would actually fuck with him if he was Lil
he would
Sean.
have been a no jumper staple.
Yeah, Big is a bad first name for a rapper. I'm gonna throw that out there.
My problem with Big Sean isn't anything about Big Sean, but more the fact that he calls himself B.I.G. I'm like, maybe.
And all the D puns.
A lot of D puns.
Yeah, the D puns are weird.
Yeah. But anyway, it's like if Big Sean retweets your story, you know, then you're gonna get. I mean, then that's like how
stars bring in clicks, clickbait, hype, gossip, fights, stuff like that. Like you know,
that's why you had me on No Jumper to really bring in those clicks.
I was just assuming you're gonna swing on me. Well, I mean, there's just this series of like perverse incentives that have really done a number on the journalism world in terms of the internet, because now we know, you know, like granted, you have a bunch of sites that do reviews and stuff, but none of them seem terribly enthusiastic about it. Like granted, with something like Pitchfork, that's their whole brand.
Is anyone enthusiastic about anything though?
I mean, in terms of the written word,
about podcasts.
I would actually say I am. In terms,
people love podcasts.
In comparison to the
Your
written
podcast
word,
is very popular.
It's okay, but it seems like it's
more popular than websites.
I mean, and that's the hard thing is that it's like now, don't you see? Okay, and I actually asked somebody from the New York Times this the other day, and they agreed to me. I said, "Don't you agree with me that like in 10 years?" every employee at the New York Times will essentially be a vlogger? And he was just like, yeah, probably.
I think in 10 years, you're going to be the editor of the New York Times.
I think I've done and said a lot of things that would prohibit me from doing that in my life, but I'm very open to that.
I think it's going to happen.
But that's what I said. I'm like, don't you think that everything's probably kind of going to video? Everything's kind of going in that direction. He was like,
I mean,
he goes, yeah, it makes me sick to think about it, but yeah, you're probably right.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm like delusional. Like I'll just keep doing. Like you can adjust in ways, you know what I mean? Like you can, I think there's no shame in doing video stuff. You can do video stuff well. Like it's not necessarily the medium as much as it's actually the quality of the product that you put out. You know, you can have a great podcast. You could have a great video review show. It can be insightful and like thoughtful and all kinds of silly things. You know what I mean? It can be whatever, but you know, just don't be like, I don't know. It's like easy to be cynical, and like I'm cynical a lot of the time, but like I feel like I hate when people lie and kind of like I mean, like obviously this country elected Donald Trump, so like I'm not necessarily betting on the intelligence of people, but I still want to like appeal to their higher sense of like decency and like intellect, and like because I do feel like, look, Kendrick Lamar, like being the most popular artist, that's like a good thing. You know, it's like that's great. You know, he's a smart rapper who like is setting a good example for people. I mean, like, I don't care about the good example part, but like that's a good thing undeniably in culture when Kendrick, you know, like, but I love Future too. You know what I mean? And like, I hate the opposite where they're like, oh, well, Future, Percocet, Molly, Lean. And you're like, I don't know. Future's one of my favorite artists, like, if not my favorite. And Kendrick Lamar brought out Future at Coachella, and people are stupid about their fucking binaries. Like, not everything is one thing. And I think like that, and I'm sure you've run into that a lot too, where it's like, fucking life is complicated, you know, like artists are complicated. Like it's not everything is just great and not everything is terrible, you know? It's I think the internet has like that fire classic binary that like fucks everything up. And I get it's partially like a result of capitalism, because it's like, who's going to click on a review that's like, yeah, this is like a 6.3, it's fine. You know
exactly.
Like, no one cares.
Whereas if you were to say review the Kendrick Lamar album, it's like, say you give it a 9 or a 10. All right, cool. Like that's probably kind of what people are expecting. Totally. You give that shit a 2, you can pretty much guarantee that you're going to cause a firestorm online. Yeah. And that people are going to be hate reading the fuck out of it.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's
win.
It's the kind of thing you're incentivized to do with the internet. Is you're incentivized to have a really weird hot take that not a lot of people agree with.
Clicks are agnostic.
Yeah.
You know, views are agnostic. It's not, but you know, I've just never been able to. I mean, I'll make a joke sometimes here and there. I've never been able to like buy into that kind of cynicism, but like that's also not why I don't have a Bugatti. Despite all the Ace-Hood I've listened to over the years, it doesn't come through.
Were you a believer in Ace-Hood at any period in time?
I was never an Ace-Hood believer, but I like Bugatti. I think it's a good song.
Oh hell yeah, it's a great song.
DJ Khaled, good for you.
Yeah, I saw him in person the other day when I was sitting around outside the Breakfast Club while they were recording.
How was that for you? I had a good sighting, but you can talk first.
I mean, that
was the
walking
extent of it.
around, talking to people, saying, new song dropping Wednesday, Rihanna and Bryson Tiller.
It's like a wind-up toy. You know what I mean? It's like, I saw him, I was at my friend's wedding, actually, a year ago.
And he was there.
Well, he pulls into, it was like the Renaissance Hotel in Beverly Hills. It was like some fucking swank wedding. And DJ Khaled pulls in a Rolls Royce. And he parks in like the valet area, and like he's just sitting there like talking on his phone, and his valet gets out of the car and starts like taking photos of him. And I'm like, oh, DJ Khaled must be checking into the hotel. I'm like, all right, you're in a suit, like you gotta get a photo for. I'm gonna go up to DJ Khaled and be like, I'm getting married today. You know, like, do you have any words of encouragement for me? But he never gets out of the car, and then I realized it was completely an Instagram setup. Like he just pulled into a hotel in Beverly Hills in a Rolls Royce to take photos to look like he was doing it for Instagram.
And did you later see these on his Instagram?
I didn't check, but I assume they've been up. So I'm outing DJ Khaled for all of his nefarious deeds.
Wow, that's really interesting. Yeah, because did you see that whole thing with Jay-Z doing the fake laugh for the photo with Kevin Hart, or was it Chris Rock? Or
No.
it was like they caught him where he actually says to the photographer, like, hey, get one of us laughing. And then he like hits like a fake laugh, and then boom, they get the photo of him. And I think it was Kevin Hart laughing. And it's just like, oh, so that's not real, when there's like a photo of you having this like big belly ache, which a lot of people were doing tweets that were just showing all these pictures of Jay-Z laughing over the years. And it's kind of like, were these all fake?
Yeah, mine are in general.
What a brilliant
Cracking open
genius.
a cold one with the boys.
Well, that has occurred to me,
Time
though.
to crack open a cold one.
Seeing him do that made me just think, like, I'm not putting enough thought into my Instagram photos. Like, I could be exercising a whole different level of orchestration in
Unlike
terms of how I
Roseman,
present
who's got the
myself.
pose down to a T.
And
It's an
God,
iconic
God
pose.
bless him for making something out of nothing with that.
Yeah.
Roseman, to me, is also the first person that I ever really heard identify like wearing designer clothing as like an experience. He's like, yes,
It's the Roseman experience.
I bought
yeah.
a $400 t-shirt, but
Yeah.
I got to experience the $400 t-shirt.
Yeah,
and
same.
slowly it's kind of started to make sense to me.
Yeah, I got to do that. Like, I'm just like on some, like, I don't know. If you like it, it's good.
Yeah, I'm on some
Like,
shit
in,
where
like, POW Recordings, PassionOfTheWeiss.com.
I get all these cool shirts for free from
If you
fans.
don't.
So this shirt just says shoot first, and it's offset. It's on the wrong side.
Yeah, I got a good shirt actually at a thrift shop in Dallas where it said John Kerry in 2004 bringing complete sentences back to the White House.
It said that.
Yeah, I was like, that ended well.
I had an extra of the best vintage t-shirt I ever seen, which is just said like, you know, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, the official jail of the 1984 Olympics. And I just thought the official jail
That's
had its
real.
own t-shirt. Like, how the fuck did that really occur?
Yeah, you know they have like a Disneyland jail. Have you ever been to Disneyland jail?
I have never been to Disneyland or the jail.
But you've never been to Disneyland? You're not missing that much.
I'm not really like LA
Yeah.
enough. I went to Disney World over in Florida.
Disney World, that's some East Coast shit.
It is. That's what we do. We drive down there on the
drive
East
down
Coast.
there,
You take that
yeah.
20-hour drive in your mom's Subaru, and you fucking go to Disney
I
World.
tried to get my dad to go, but he's like, no, I'm going to fight with Dennis Rodman instead. I was like, fuck.
To Disneyland.
Nah,
Or Disney
He
World.
wouldn't take me now. It was like, all right, Disney World. I was like, who cares?
So you think the days of going to a theme park with your father are over?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's fair. Wait, but so you've always been primarily interested in rap, but then when I've like been over your house, I've seen your record collection. It's crazy. You seem like you have
everything.
you have a
Yeah.
very, very wide array of knowledge about rap.
Yeah, I mean,
Or about music in general,
Yeah,
sorry.
I love. I mean, honestly, like it's corny to say, but like I love I love music. I like books, obviously, like literature. I mean, like there's a lot of things like sports. You know, like I feel like it's. I mean, I don't know. That's the thing. That's like kind of a stupid thing. I feel it like. Not like you're saying that, but like I feel like people get the wrong perception of people where they're like, oh, like you're the rap guy, and you're like, I don't know, like my favorite artist is Fela Kuti or Serge Gainsbourg or like the Talking Heads, you know, or Love, like Arthur Lee and Love, and like I don't know, there's a ton of things that like rap is great. I mean, I think rap is definitely the most important art genre of the last 30 years. But
Yeah,
like,
totally, yeah.
But how are you gonna like? It's like anything, right? Like, how are you gonna understand the present if you don't understand the past? Like, how are you gonna understand like American? The contemporary depressing state of America if you haven't like studied American history or
Right.
world history or the way the patterns work. And I think music works similarly. You know, there's certain, I think like music changes, but like archetypes kind of stay static, like similar circumstance. History doesn't repeat itself, but like certain circumstances sort of do in some kind of warped way.
Right. Yeah, see, that's the thing that's tough for me is like at a certain point I started this podcast because of the fact that I was just the kind of guy that would love to just go down a wormhole and like find a rapper I liked, and all of a sudden I'm reading about him and watching videos from him, listening to his albums for 3 hours. That's the experience that I was actually trying to like kind of convey through my podcast, is like, oh, I become interested in these people and then I'm able to actually have a conversation with them. But then at a certain point, there's a temptation to almost become like a caricature of yourself, because like when I look at the way people tend to write about me or refer to me, whether they're praising me or insulting me at this point, it's kind of like, oh, he's the SoundCloud guy. He's like the young rapper guy who like interviews these young rappers, blah, blah, blah. But to me, I was never limited in any sort of way in terms of the stuff that I could get interested in. Like I went through a really, really intense like Billy Bragg phase for a while there. I went through a crazy Mountain Goats phase for a while there.
Yeah. He's like kind of like a rapper John Darnell in some ways.
He is nowadays. Yeah, I was actually really into him when he was still like super acoustic and raw.
Yeah.
But what was it? The best ever death metal band out of Denton. I think that was my favorite song with them.
Yeah,
at that time.
Like I feel like everyone is sort of like, well, not everyone, but like you should attempt to be like, I feel like multifaceted. It's like, although like sometimes you'll interview people and they'll be like so like they're like, yeah, I love rock music. I'm like, who do you like? They're like Nirvana. I'm like, okay, that's like cool.
Yeah,
that's fine. Like Nirvana is great, but
isn't that kind of strange to think that you could be a kid and you just like see a Nirvana t-shirt, you go listen to Nirvana for a second, but it's such a pose now. It's so consistently
it's
opposed.
Stupid, man. You have Google. Like I like the thing that's the coolest thing about the modern era is like there's no excuse to be like, you can Google anything.
Right.
Like it's not hard.
But
like,
it doesn't stop anyone from just asking dumb questions,
Spotify
not knowing shit about shit. Yeah.
Because everyone's on. I mean, like not to be like. I mean, I don't know. Like I'm on my phone fucking constantly. That shit is you're not thinking, you're consuming, and like we're like God, But it's true. Like we are a consumer culture, and like I feel like reading books seems like an obsolete thing. So if you're going to be a writer, you have to write things in a way that it's like you got to cut the dope somehow, you know. And I mean, hopefully I try to just be funny, like as much as I can, because otherwise, like, it's like, I mean, to be fair though, like all my favorite writers are funny. Like even writers like Vladimir Nabokov or F. Scott Fitzgerald, people don't like, or whomever, like, are usually funny. I mean, like, gotta be, gotta make jokes occasionally.
Do you structure your life so that you have a significant amount of like free time and so that you're able to just consume culture, I guess?
Nah, I'm usually like, my life is just usually like trying to write things as much as I can. But I mean, like, I don't like, I think at a certain, like, again, like I keep on going back to it and it's banal, but it's like all imaginary. Like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, you have a deadline. Like, I mean, you should try to hit your deadline, but like none of it really matters. Like everything does get handled. Like there are certain things that you have to attend to, you can't be disrespectful to people. You have to acknowledge other people's time. But like ultimately, if you don't figure out your life in a way that works for you and without being totally selfish, then it's never going to get done. You're never going to have time to read, or you'll never have time to watch this thing that you want to do. So you just have to be like, fuck it. Like it'll get done, not to say that I'm like so wise or anything about that. I'm not, but it's just like, what is really that important other than like life and death shit and like your family and like the people you're really close to? Like everything is all like irrelevant. Like what if, you have to make this meeting and
Right. I feel like I know certain people who work in media that like overschedule themselves to the point where, because I was around like DJ MD and Charlemagne and stuff, and there was
a different beast.
Right. There was other people like from the podcast network and stuff, kind of talking to them, and there was like conversations like, "Oh, have you heard this? Have you heard this thing?" And you're talking about music and podcasts, and it's just sort of like the overall vibe I'm getting is like these dudes who are really successful tend to like just complicate their lives to an insane degree by just scheduling the fuck out of themselves so that they never have a chance to like sit back and spend an hour watching YouTube videos of new rappers or sit on fucking World Star or some blog and just check out a bunch of bullshit. Never mind sit there for an hour and listen to some guy's podcast just to see what you think of it. Yeah. And once you become really successful, you kind of lose touch with that experience. And then like for me, I think that experience and enjoying that experience is probably like one of the main things that makes me objectively in any way special or interesting in terms of what I'm doing.
Yeah, like what are you successful for at a certain point? You know what I mean? And it's like obviously like people can say whatever they want and like, I don't know, I try to listen to people's criticism. It's like, look, like, I don't know, like we are white people in hip hop and like I think like people of color have like sometimes valid concerns, about like white people kind of necessarily being culture vulture, and I've been called that. And I think you have to be kind of cognizant of that and respectful of that. And I think all of us do because, we are, it is a historically black art form and most of the artists are black or Latino. But at the same time, like, you just have to try to like do your best and kind of, I don't know, make something like do something add to the conversation, or like do something that's like, you know, interesting and not just kind of like exploit it. And, you know, that's like sort of, not to say that I succeed, you know, like I don't want to be like one of these like self-righteous people, because like I fuck up all the time. So I never want to be the person that's like trying to be like, oh, I'm the best.
No, but that's interesting, because that is like the main reason why, because that's like probably the main thing that I read about myself negatively. If I were to like search my name on Twitter, is like, oh, you're a culture vulture, you're white, you're a piece of shit, whatever. And I mean, that's like the primary thing that I don't really feel like responding to, because number one, I don't feel like I don't feel like it's true. I think if somebody were to like objectively look at like all the podcasts I do and stuff, they'd be like, okay, yeah, you hang out with Lil Pump sometimes, but you just put out, you know.
I mean, like, I know you, and I think I like you a lot, and I respect you a lot.
Thank you.
I do think that, you know, I don't know, like the Perico interview, right? It's like, there's like a certain thing, like when you're a white person in hip hop and you're like coming outside and you start asking about gangs or guns, it's sort of like, there's a certain like level where it kind of it can feel kind of unsavory, and I think about that sometimes, you know, and and this is something that like I've over the years I've done as a journalist, where it's like I guarantee you I've done those things like plenty of times, and like, you know, there's so much like we don't know, so it's like it can be, you know, it's like someone like DJ Vlad, like, and I'm not saying you're like DJ Vlad, but like I feel like he does it to the extreme, where like DJ Vlad is like, what serial number is your gun? And
I
it's
think
like,
he turned a corner at a certain point where he just sort of gave up on being tasteful about it.
Yeah, and like I know you, and I know you, like you fuck with it, and like whatever anyone says about you, you have discovered a lot. You look, there are most publications don't break artists anymore. They don't they don't take a chance on people, and like you have an outlet that like honestly, like I told you this before, I fuck with anyone that does it independently. I fuck with anyone that built their own thing, because I know how hard that shit is. It's like I fuck with Andrew Barber at Fake Shore Drive, like
me too.
Him like that.
Huge
you know, he's a real one. Like, and I think anyone that does it on their own and does it outside the system like deserves respect, especially when they're taking chances on people and they're breaking artists. And I feel like your show does that. I try to do that with Passion of the Weiss. Obviously, Fake Shore does that. And there's like a few other people out there who I'm totally forgetting. And I think people forget that too, where it's like, look, like I've worked for these corporations, and like, look, a lot of the people that work for these corporations are wonderful, wonderful people. I would never single out any one particular corporation, because like you might not like a publication, but I guarantee you would like half the people if you met them, if not more. But you know, these are businesses that they're running. You're not running your business in terms of like, I'm trying to make the most money off this shit. Like you have a genuine curiosity.
People could probably tell if I was.
Totally. And I felt like that with me. I was like, look, if I wanted to make money, I would have just become a publicist a long time ago, because you can make a lot of money being a publicist. And that's like low key, that's the secret of the music industry. Be a fucking publicist. Really? You can make crazy money. Yeah, you can make 6 figures as a publicist easy.
I feel like I could low key be somebody's publicist pretty easily.
In a heartbeat. Well, you know, when I knew you weren't in it for, you know, not like I thought you were in it for the money, but when we were talking about XXX, I don't even know how to fucking
XXXTentacion.
Yeah. And we were talking about him getting a deal, and you're like, I don't really care about like being his manager to get him a deal or something. I'm not trying to, like, you're like, I just want him to get, you know?
Yeah.
You're like, I just want him to stop dissing Drake and get out of jail right now.
Yeah.
And I mean, he has his own problems. I mean, I'm not going to, this is a different conversation altogether. I can't really fuck with him because of the whole, you know him better than I do, but I don't know. Do you feel like sometimes, because like to me, someone like XX, right? XXX, whatever. And I feel like I can't like an artist like that knowing that he beat his girlfriend or whatever.
I don't feel like I know that. Like, he's personally denied that he did it to me. Yeah, I have my doubts about whether that's true or not. At the end of the day, it's kind of like, I mean, I feel like over the years I've swallowed so many accusations of different people that it's kind of like, and if he did do that, it was like an 18-year-old kid. Yeah, I agree. It's heinous. I've never hit a girl like that or anything. And, you know, it sucks to have to even think about it.
But like, again, like, you know, it's like people want to cast aspersions. And I personally can't listen to him because of that. But I was a Kodak Black fan from the get-go. And we were one of the first websites to interview him. And I don't know. Like, I don't know if what Kodak did is true or not, but it didn't look good. And I still listen to his music. So, like, who am I? I mean, like, I covered Boosie's murder trial in Baton Rouge, and I'm not about to say anything on camera about Boosie. I have nothing but love for Boosie, but
you have told me about some wild experiences you've had there off the record.
Yeah, and Baton Rouge is I talk about it a lot because it was a very seminal experience in my life. But yeah, I've said this, like I said this earlier, but I was like, you know, good people can do bad things and bad people can do good things, and it's like none of us are necessarily like, I don't know, like, none of us are perfect angels. So it's like kind of weird for me to kind of be like, well, I'm, you know, but
Well, a lot of it's very tribal in a way too, in the sense that like, I couldn't listen to a Troy Ave song because, I think he seems like a dickhead, but more so than that, it's like shit that happened between him and Tax is like, I don't want to fucking hear what the fuck you got to say.
He also hit my friend, so fuck him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like,
come on, bro.
At the end of the day, it's like, it's not, it's like with X. It's like, of course I'm able to forgive him because I loved him before I knew about those accusations or whatever, like loved him as a person. At the end of the day, it is what it is. Troy Ave, it's like the same thing. It's like, I don't give a fuck about, I actually liked him as a rapper at a certain point, probably
I liked like 3 songs.
2011 or 12. Something like
a Coke season to be named later. I like.
No, it was like a White Christmas or something, some stupid cocaine joke.
Troy Ave, yeah. Like he was like, all right, it's enough cocaine.
I mean, he
not that interesting.
Troy Ave has like objectively been trying to seem like the biggest cunt possible for his entire career, as far as I can tell.
I do have a little bit of resentment for the New York media for trying to make Troy Ave happen because it's
And
like we're LA guys, right? So it's like
who's most complicit in that? I want to know.
Who is the entire city of New York?
But
they're bringing
I feel like
hip-hop.
they mostly
Troy
kind
Ave
of
brought New
disowned
York
him.
back in their own minds.
Who was Rosenberg hyping him up?
I don't know. I
don't
should have
even
to ask
remember.
Rosenberg.
Because at a certain point he turned heel and became the evil Troy Ave.
Yeah.
But for a while it was. I remember really earlier when his old mixtapes were called Bricks in My Backpack or something, and I remember him with the backpack on maybe Sway or something doing the interview talking about I was going uptown with the bricks in my backpack, blah blah blah.
I think that was true, but that also explains most real gangsters aren't the best rappers.
I mean, I'm open to believing that. Sure, I don't.
It's like someone once told me that they're like the thing about most great rappers is they usually weren't really gangsters and vice versa. Although you have kind of an explanation. I believe G. Perico was a real gangster.
Yeah. And TK was sort of saying that. He was like, some guys, what they rap about is not nearly as bad as what they've done and what they've seen. And with some guys, they have seen and done nothing, and they talk as if they've done everything.
Well, it's like I was thinking, it's like the Nas thing, right? Like, it's like, is it less real because he saw it rather than he lived it? And I think like as a writer, like I think Nas is a writer ultimately, right? That's I mean, he's a great rapper, a great musician, but like, I mean, writing I think is the reason why people loved him. I mean, no one's like, everyone clowns Nas for picking bad beats, which is probably overblown, but maybe valid to some degree. But he's a great writer, and I feel like all writers have been like that, right? Like, so it's like you can't necessarily like, unless they're like, I'm super crip, I'm like the biggest blood in the world, and you're just like, you weren't even,
And that shit don't last very long out here.
Who am I to say? I'm a white guy in a Suge Knight.
But I hear the
so.
conversations these guys having, like when dudes come around that are not certified and they're talking all this gang shit. It's like out here, you're a target.
Well, it's
as
like
soon
that
as you
YG
start
song "Don't Come to LA."
Yeah,
which is like a great song, and it's like I'll catch you slipping in the BT Awards.
Could you look at Perico and say like, okay, there's a corollary there with YG? To me, they seem like sort of their appeal is quite similar.
But a lot of people have said he's the blue YG.
They're traditionalists.
They come from, I mean, yes,
they embrace the 90s sound, the traditional LA sound in a lot of ways.
And I think in a way, I think they're doing a new thing where you're like, a lot of people like hated on Still Brazy, but they're like, oh, this is G-Funk revival. And I think it's bullshit because you're like, the drums don't sound like a G-Funk drums. The bass lines don't sound like, the only thing that sounds like G-Funk is those synths. So it's like, that's how art works, right? Like everything is like syncretistic. Like, it's like you take little bits and kind of just pushes a little bit forward. It's all an amalgam.
You ever feel like that a lot of the street rappers in LA and their like unwillingness to give up the sort of synths and that traditional style sort of holds them back in a way because that's certainly not like the style of right now in a lot of people's opinions?
Well, I think it depends on like what like how you define success, right? Because like if you define success as being like someone like someone like Nipsey Hussle, right? Like,
but we haven't had like a breakthrough LA hip hop street guy in a while, right?
Well, I mean,
like YG,
Schoolboy Q, YG,
and the Kendrick,
yeah,
the whole Top Dog thing,
Vince,
and YG.
I mean, Vince is. I wouldn't call Vince a street rapper or a gangster rapper, but he is. He's told people he's a crip a couple times.
I've heard.
And and to be honest,
that song with TC and shit. The newer like Vince Staples feature, which is like the most most overtly crip I've ever seen Vince Staples behave, and it was like this is a little different.
Is it called like I'm crippin' or like what?
Tell me how you creeping or something like that. It was I really like that song.
It's a great song. I TC 4800. Yeah,
who's Ty Dolla $ign's like
cousin
guy
who looks like him. I didn't know that, and I was like, oh, you look just like Ty Dolla $ign.
Right.
I think that I mean Perico but here's the thing, like YG, like, so I covered the Jerkin movement, like for LA Weekly. I wrote like a big cover story in 09. That was like one of my first like really big stories.
You've been around
it was
for a
actually
minute,
08. It was 08, I think. 08 or 09, whatever. And yeah, I've been doing it for like, 10 years working for LA Weekly, LA Times and stuff. And so I've kind of seen waves come and go. And so YG was like that dude, you know what I mean? Like you talk to 16-year-old kids and they were all jerking, and like you'd be like, who's your favorite rapper? And there were a couple. There was I don't know. I had 3 PBRs, so all hell is broken loose. But YG was like generally the one, and that was their favorite rapper. And this is like before Pussy. This is like when he had his big song was called Pussy Killer, and so like that was the dude. And it took him a couple years even to get tooted and booted, and then it took him a couple years more to kind of get to the point where he's at now, where he became a star. So that was real. I mean, I think TDE was more of a, when I interviewed them, I think this 2012, I did a big spin story, and it was, Kendrick was already kind of, I think he had already put out Section 80 at that time, and Q was about to put out Habits and Contradictions. And they basically were like, look, like the internet blew us up first. We weren't necessarily a street phenomenon, although I think J-Rock had fans. And LA has, LA radio doesn't support LA artists for the most part. I mean, there's a few people that do. I mean, DJ Reflex, I just wrote a column about. He's a great guy, and he does his best. But LA radio doesn't support them, so kind of it fucks up the system in a way. And it's hard to get big. You know what I mean? It's like Perico was like a hood phenomenon. Draco is a hood phenomenon. Like Frosty the Snowman, we've talked about is dope. And like now, like you're seeing that, and I think that's great because it shows that like kids are like not listening to the radio. They're like they're watching shit on YouTube, and they're always looking for shit that isn't necessarily corporate and co-signed and fucking market tested. Right. And that's good. Like that's like the best thing about teenagers, right? Like they can tell when people are full of shit.
Oh yeah. And that's what's funny when people try to use that as an insult. It's like, oh, you spend a lot of time around like 16, 18-year-olds.
You can learn a lot from kids.
They know a lot of shit that you don't know.
Totally. They'll always know music that you won't know. You're like, what? Like,
yeah. I used to live in like a BMX flop house before I got my own apartment like 8 months ago, and I actually kind of missed that. Is that there's a lot of songs like real like SoundCloud underground like post Raider Clan type stuff that was like my friends would just be listening to it, and I like knew about it because of that. Like I got a fucking Night Lavelle interview that I was like the diehard fans were like really impressed that I knew about that or whatever, and it was all because my next door roommate was listening to him constantly, and I kind of had to figure out at a point.
Good artist borrow, great artist steal.
Here you go. All right, let me ask you this. Is like, how much do you appreciate and enjoy the experience of being like a freelance writer and like reporting back to editors and having to deal with these publications? I think there's like an assumption with a lot of people that being a freelance writer in 2017 is dog shit, and you seem like you kind of embrace it.
I'm lucky. Like honestly, like I've done it long enough where like my editors are like, if I'm working with them, they're usually great. Like I'm not just saying that. Like I mean, like I don't work with them if I don't like them. You know what I mean? Like I can pick my assignments at this point. It's hard though. Like I mean, like there's a lot of people that want to be writers, and it's like it goes both ways. People like never write for free, and it's like, yeah, you totally shouldn't write for like a big corporate publication for free, but like maybe you should start your own Tumblr, or maybe there's not that many sites like Passion Of The Weiss, but
you can build up your own social media currency.
Totally. Like I'll tell writers, they're like, how do I get it? I'm like, why don't you write for me for free for like a little while? Like, you don't have to write every week, just write once a month. Everyone has a little bit of time, and build up your own thing. Build up, like I hate to say the word brand because it's such a cynical 21st century bullshit thing, but it's like there is some realism to that. Like everyone does have a brand on some level.
Yeah, like if you could prove you're funny on Twitter, if you can prove that you are able to, have some good observations here and there, it's like, let's be real. That's how you end up knowing about writers in 2017 for the most part.
I completely agree. And it's like I found like a lot of good writers off Twitter, and it's like, here's the thing, like people don't understand the value of a good editor, and it's like I would never be one of those people that was like, oh, I just sprang fully formed. Like I had to like learn a little, like I think smart people like only have to be edited a few times to kind of get it. Like, but the first time, like Todd Burns was my editor at a magazine called Stylus Magazine, and I always shout it out because it was a really just great magazine that kind of came and went for like 5 or 6 years in the mid 2000s. But the first thing I ever wrote for him was for free, and he was like, "Bro, this reads like a Grateful Dead fan site," and I was like, "Oh." And I was like, you know what though? In hindsight, dude was totally right, and like that
seems a little mean.
It was a little mean, but you know what? Sometimes you kind of need something that's a little mean to kind of like, like you're kind of being a little paternal, and
I feel like that's kind of mean, but it's also kind of non-specific. It's just kind of like you
funny.
suck, and you just resemble someone else who sucks.
yeah,
and
like you kind of just dissed me in a very funny way, and
it's funny for
it was
sure.
funny.
That, yeah.
And like at the end of the day, right? That's all you can ask for from somebody is just try to be funny. And but like it made me learn. I was like, dude, you're right. I'm totally a Grateful Dead fan side, and I learned something. And it's like that's all you can do, right? Is like just try to learn. Like if you can. I don't know. I'm about to like lapse into fucking self motivation, but if you can get better every fucking day, like that's has to be the goal. It's like a little bit. And like so that's what I try to do is like I know how like the world works. It's like I'm supposed to be like I am the greatest writer alive.
Right.
And do I really? I do think that. Like I honestly like, but I have to because it keeps me going. But I would never like trumpet that because it's like you can always get better. You can always learn. You can always improve. And like no one's that important. Like you could be like I said like. Master P isn't that important. Puffy's not that important. Kanye's not that important. Like a homeless guy on the street isn't. It just doesn't matter.
Well, you get that perspective from like reading history and stuff. Is like, and in a lot of ways, I feel like that's probably one of the good ways that I've learned to like deal with stress is to read biographies or read history
right.
and just think about life outside of my own perspective, because sometimes I'll have the temptation to be like, God, I have 7 interviews scheduled this week. This is fucking insane. I am dealing with something that is uniquely difficult in
and sometimes
my
you have to
existence
just, like,
right now,
and just like go to like hiking in Topanga Canyon for me, or you know what I mean, or like
or if you
whatever it is.
But
like,
if you could watch a documentary or read a book and like put yourself in somebody else's shoes for a minute, and for that period of time, remember that you're not the center of the universe. Which, as someone who has done acid like I have, I think that was a big thing that I ended up sort of like meditating on.
Oh, everyone is God.
It was that that was a big thing I realized is like you live like, and I do. I live my life as if I'm the center of the fucking universe, and everything that's going on rotates around me, which I think is a big part of like me being able to be confident enough to be able to go out into the world and do these things.
But I'm saying, you have to think you're the best at it.
But with
It's
acid, acid gave me that reality check of like, you are not the center of the fucking universe.
Well, you're not important. You know what I mean? It's like you have to think, you might be able to think you're the best, and that might give you the confidence to go on, but it doesn't mean you're important. It doesn't mean you get to treat people differently. It doesn't mean you get to like act a certain way. It doesn't mean you get to disrespect other people. And I feel like that's a big problem with people that are like, oh, I can do whatever I want. I have like 30,000 Instagram followers. And you're like, bro, who cares?
Right.
Like, and I feel like, and you're not like that. And that's cool. Like I've met you before this, and I was like, you don't have that kind of attitude.
People getting like preemptively like into themselves thanks to their clout is like one of the worst things that I encounter on a regular basis.
It's like at a certain point, like why?
And it's bad too because I have like a reputation for knowing about all these SoundCloud rappers. So I'll meet some dude that's like 10,000 followers and I don't know about him, and he's like personally offended. Like, how could you not know about me?
Chester Watson, bro. Where are you?
I
at?
don't. I gotta
He's
throw the Googles on that.
Yeah, he's great.
Oh, constantly with that though, that people bring up artists and I don't know about them, and they're like,
yeah, like how you gonna know about everyone? I don't know shit. Like everyone's like, oh, you don't know? I'm like, I don't care.
But I go very out of my way to have my taste be my taste and my discovery mechanisms be my discovery mechanism, and that's why I will never click something in my DMs from an artist ever.
I don't know. Sometimes they write something that's like interesting, and like I don't know. I feel like you have to just like. I mean, I don't even want their. Yeah, I get it. I don't want their DMs either. But sometimes I don't know. Sometimes like you will just like I do think that like I don't know, like I was like a big Hunter Thompson fan. I think he's an amazing writer, and I hate talking about him because he's been kind of ruined because everyone's like, dude, it's about the drugs. And it's like, no, Hunter Thompson was like writing F. Scott Fitzgerald books like on his typewriter to figure out the rhythm of the sentences. But he was obsessed with William Styron, who's another amazing writer. And he like wrote him a letter and tried to get a literary agent, and it's like Styron helped him. I don't think it necessarily panned out, but like that there's a truth to that, right? Like we have to kind of try to help people as much as you can, and you have, like you put on people, and hopefully I put on people, and like one of my No Can Do, I used to do Shots Fired podcast, and he's like, one day you're gonna have a funeral and like a lot of rappers gonna be there. I'm like, that dude helped me out, and I was like, that'd be cool.
That would be a very good send off, don't you think? That would totally be enough.
Yeah, totally. Right? It's like Perico rapped at my funeral. It's like
drape the blue bandana over your casket.
Open mic. You should have Open Mike on the show. He's amazing.
Okay.
Also another talent. I feel like people get it twisted. There's so many different kinds of rap, and I feel like there's not one kind of rap that's like more valid. There's not one kind of rap that's like, we talk about street rap, but it's like, that's like a euphemism. Like there are, like we were talking about with Desta, like the hood isn't monolithic necessarily. There's all kinds of people, and I feel like, sometimes as white people, you kind of get this conception where you're like, oh, it's South Central gangsters, Bloods, Crips, and you're like, Yeah, but there's like everyday people, and like there's people that go to work, and there's people that don't bang, and just live their lives on a day-to-day basis. And I think it's like, I don't know. I guess that's been the best part about being a journalist is sort of like you get to go. I get to go to the neighborhoods,
right?
And like learn, because otherwise, like when I was growing up in LA, you don't do that sort of thing. You live in your like West Side bubble, and maybe you'll go to the Valley, or like maybe I'd go to like Santa Fe Springs for a baseball game, but like you're not necessarily like interacting with people. And I think that's probably the one thing that I've been able to take away from doing this.
Yeah. I mean, that's like, I mean, some people might be tempted to like paint it as like tourism in a sense, but that is a big part of it too, though, is like doing podcasts, doing writing, whatever. It's really just a venue for you to be able to meet people and experience different ways of life. And I really like that in the sense, like I've done a lot of fucking traveling in my life. And at the end of the day, most of it ultimately felt kind of unfulfilling, because it's like if you go somewhere, yeah, it's cool that you did this, that you were around this, but at the end of the day, if you weren't somehow engaging with that, or if you weren't somehow creating something out of that, documenting something,
people will be able to look back and be like, this was a time, that's what I was saying with the label. It's like, I hope that like in 5-10 years there's something, if I'm not putting out any more records with it, like I can be like, oh cool, you documented your own like weird like warped vision. And with writing too, it's, I mean, that's ultimately what it is, right? Like you're just trying to like get your experience down. And I mean, that's all of it is, so it's like not everyone can be a rapper. And I feel like people get twisted, you know what I mean? Because they're like, oh well, you're not a rapper, so what do you know? And you're like, I don't know, like people need media, like people need writers, people need even podcasts. Podcasts, I think, are a great medium in their own way, because if I was going to write like, I wrote a story on you, and it's like, dude, like I'm writing like such a one-dimensional story because I have 600 words to do it, versus like an actual conversation where you're like, okay, I can see the different sides of somebody, and like they're not just like what I thought they were.
Right. Yeah. I mean, podcasts.
But I am what you think I am.
I haven't always felt totally bullish on the future of podcasts, like as a business or as like
Who can be bullish about the future anyway?
As an art form. Yeah. Okay. True. But like, then to an extent, I see it as kind of being like the only segment of hip hop media in which like some significant percentage of people seem excited about it.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is nice,
They're not. I mean, like, yeah. I mean, like, I think on a wide scale, I think YouTube is like where most people are at, and I think it's smart that you just like didn't do only the SoundCloud thing. I mean, on the real, like you and Anthony Fantano are probably would probably move the needle more forward than.
Who I'm interviewing tomorrow.
Are you?
Yep.
Is he in LA? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, he's moving the needle. Someone like that is like, whether you like him or hate him, and I'm agnostic on the question, but it's like, he is moving the needle forward. Like a review from that will matter more than probably a review from me, like realistically. And no matter how much like people like care about like what publication I write for or whatever, and that's just the way it is. And it's like you can fight against it, or you can just accept it. And like this is the way it is, and it's not necessarily a bad or a good thing. That like that's how it is. I mean, we live in a post-verbal, post-literate world. Like. People are not, name 5 novelists. Like most people can't name 5 novelists. It's like, I just read the story on the Beats. It's like, who can name 5 poets? I probably can only name 3 contemporary poets other than those people. Poetry was like cracking. You know what I mean? Like poetry in like the 50s was like, they were like, my friend once told me, and his dad was one of those writers, and he was like, honestly, like novelists in the 50s were like rappers today. And that's like,
crazy.
It's true. It's not true. Whatever.
It's crazy to think of anyone being like rappers besides rappers, because since I was a kid, really rappers have always like stood out, and just that title, like rapper, like girls will be like,
"Did you ever rap?"
I'm never rapping. I'm never dating a rapper again. No, never rapped.
Yeah. I mean, this is the part where we just all of a sudden start freestyling.
Drunken freestyles for sure.
Yeah, drunken freestyles. Yeah.
Even like yesterday, I was in the fucking studio with Lil Pump, and like he's doing his.
You were like you're like Joe Claire kind of thing.
No, but in my opinion, like I'm sitting there, and he actually had a bar where he said, I like it because he's like owning the meme. He goes, Lil Pump dropped out of Harvard. Eat them Zans like Starburst. So okay, whatever. But I like that he's owning the meme with the dropped out of Harvard thing, because that's like a thing a lot of people have been saying about him.
Did he drop out of Harvard?
No, he's 16, so he could not have really even.
Did he drop out of high school?
Yeah,
I guess at a certain point, if I was like Little Pump, I probably would have dropped out of high school too.
I'm not even sure he made it to high school. He's probably in junior.
Like, I don't think anyone wanted me. They're like, I guess you're like good at baseball and basketball. You can stay.
But then I started like freestyling about like him, about like as if I was Little Pump, about having a threesome with the producer and how I hope that our balls don't touch. And I personally thought that my lyrics were probably better than whatever he wrote. I thought that mine were funnier.
Well, maybe you can be like the Sci-Hi the Prince of Little Pump.
Well, I can
You
completely.
can be like, put one in the air.
I understand why he didn't want to use my incredibly sus lyrics, but
even Sci-Hi the Prince has a place.
I don't even know what he looks like. I'm gonna be honest. I've heard plenty of verses from him. I couldn't name one right now.
He had one good verse. I couldn't name it, but every like life is hard.
Life is hard when you're fucking a Kanye signee. I'm sure life is incredibly
Life is
hard.
hard. Like, can you imagine? Like, we could do Mr. Hudson right now, Adam. Like right now, like you could just have like Mr. Hudson. Well, I imagine in my head, like Mr. Hudson looks like a combination between like St. Peter and like Michael McDonald in 1979.
You're just referenced out the ass. I don't know about shit. I don't watch movies. I don't watch TV. I haven't read a book in fucking mad long. I've read Charlemagne's book because I did his podcast, so I had to do that.
Yeah. Are you familiar with Charlemagne the King?
I mean, I've heard of him just because he's the Charlemagne that's not the one that I know.
That's not his real name, right? Charlemagne?
No, and he spelled it wrong too. He picked that out of a...
Yeah, I think it's a good one. Like, do you feel like sometimes you have like your Adam 22? Like,
I'm so glad that I have that, so I don't have to be Adam Grand Mason, which is like long and hard to spell.
That sounds like a real Illuminati name.
Yeah, it just sounds...
You're like Adam Grand Mason.
And I like it as a last name, but I'm just way happier having...
It's got a regality to it.
Yeah. I mean, it would be cool if I had just gotten rid of the Adam really early on and I was just 22.
What if you were just Grand Mason? It could be all right. You could be like, who's this guy? You're like, that's...
A lot of hip-hop fans are sort of predisposed to conspiracy theories. Yeah. So when they find out that that's my last name and that also that my parents like worked closely with the Clintons in like the mid-90s.
But were they Masons? Or you just said they were amazing?
No, they're Masons. No, they weren't. But I don't know. They're French-Canadian fucking weirdos.
The French Canadian, like Jack Kerouac.
Well, I shouldn't call my family weirdos. They're not really.
I told you that my dad liked Suge Knight. Be real. That's what No Jumper is about.
You know, it was a funny experience with me. My parents were visiting, I guess like about a year ago or whatever, when Straight Outta Compton came out. So I go to the mall with them and I see it with them at the Grove, which is funny. And afterwards, I hear my parents just being like, I never even knew about who NWA were. That was a cool movie, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just thinking, I'm like, you threw away my NWA CDs when I was like 13 or whatever, and you don't even remember it. And I'm kind of insulted by that.
Yeah, I wrote a book on Tupac and Biggie, and with my friend Evan McGarvey. Shout out Evan, amazing writer. And
I gotta read your books. I feel fucked up that
it's
I haven't.
a book. It's singular.
Well,
it's not it's a
I could read that one a couple of times.
Yeah, it'll change your life like the Shins and like the Shins. And yeah, I thank them for never asking what I was listening to.
Really?
They never.
You're lucky as hell.
And I would be like listening like Easy, like real motherfucking G's, like really low, and like give me that nut, like really low, and I'm like, I hope my mom doesn't know I'm listening to Give Me That Nut.
Right.
Sorry, mom.
Dude, Eazy-E at a certain point became like a shock rapper. Remember, like
I'm sorry, like Eazy's one of the greatest rappers of all time. Like he might not be the greatest technical rapper of all time, but people like, it's like it's a conversation. And I'm sure a lot of the stuff that you fuck with, it's like. I'm like, look, I'm not everything is about bars. Like it was like Prodigy was like, it was like one of the Prodigy rants came up where he was like defending Soulja Boy, and he was going in on like Saigon and like all these like whack like mixtape like New York rappers. Although Say Yes by Saigon was tight, but
Saigon had a whole bunch of hits at one point. Well, I say hits.
Yeah, I mean, New York was writing for Papoose the way they were writing for Troy Ave. Like,
I was riding for Papoose hard as a 19-year-old.
I never addressed him as Mister.
I had never heard anything that aggressive in my life. That's all I got to say is that.
You never heard Big L?
Okay, there was a level of shouting that Papoose was doing that I felt like I had never heard anybody scream at me like that on a rap song.
I was MOP First Family, so
okay, and you're right. That is a better version of what I'm describing. Yeah, but he was a young guy. He was new. It seemed like it was going to be huge at this time.
It did seem like it was going to be huge. I agree.
All the BMX dudes that I fucked with at that time, like they were using Papoose in their videos. They had fully bought in on it, so me not buying in on it was not an option.
Well, it's like what we were talking about, right? Where it's like you kind of have to wait like until like so you never know. It's all prospects. You're like someone like a lot of people bought high and sold low on Papoose.
That's a fact.
But that's the funny thing about like nobody calls people on it. It's like, look, everybody's like botched it. Like, I mean, I've like picked like things where I was like, I'll go back and read my article from 07 and I was like, God, I hope Google doesn't work right. Because it's it's like you're like say things and you're like, hey, you were really wrong.
Yeah, that's one great thing about the internet is that nobody really remembers your failures so much. Like for me, I've done probably 200 of these podcasts. Let's say 150 of them were like upstart rappers to a certain extent. Probably not, maybe like 100. But I probably had maybe
this one, which is going viral.
This is viral as fuck as we speak. But think about it. It's like out of those, let's say 100 up and coming rappers or whatever, and like maybe like 5 of them have like, or maybe 10 of them have made like really significant strides or whatever. I mean, those are good, but then I've done plenty of interviews with dudes who you'll never hear from again, and nobody really remembers that because it's easy to forget about those.
2064, when Matt Ox is the most famous rapper in the history, when Matt Ox is unanimously declared the GOAT, you will be.
I mean, what if? What if he turns into fucking Elton John and that interview has 100 million views one day?
That's why it's like I can't hate on any of this stuff. Like it's like we'll see in the long run like who turns out to be what. It's like, and I feel this way about basketball. I feel this way about writers. I feel this way about all art. Really, it's like you can never see what's inside somebody's heart, and that's trite, and it doesn't sound right when you say it out loud. But like you don't know, like because like somebody will always surprise you, and somebody will always like disappoint you.
Yeah,
and you know, like you have to just like. And then like one day you die, and then they're like, all right, you were Prodigy, or you were kind of like but I don't know. And then sometimes you're like Guru, and no one talks about Guru, and Guru is I think one of the greatest rappers ever. So you know.
But what makes Guru great as a rapper? Because I'm gonna be honest, he was never my favorite rapper.
It was mostly the voice.
Okay,
but I mean, no, it was. I mean, that was a famous line of his, but I think Guru kind of was kicking some knowledge. He had a depth there. I don't know. Did you ever hear the R.I.P. song at the end of A Moment of Truth?
I believe, yeah.
It was like a good example of like, it wouldn't be the song that I would normally choose. Like be like, oh, this is why you'd like Guru. You'd be like Mass Appeal or Dwike or whatever, however it's pronounced.
Right.
And, but like a song like R.I.P. at the end of it, where it's like Guru is like basically like listing people that have died. And I mean, obviously Premier was an incredible producer in his prime. And there was something that Guru had like where it's like, I don't know, like, right? Like all art is intangibles. You know, it's like there are things you can't point to. It's like, why do people like some things? It's like sometimes writers can break it down, but at the end of the day, I was like talking about, oh, you know, I keep on going back to it, but it's like, dude, I can't write. Like, how am I going to tell you how dope Mobb Deep was? Like, how am I going to top Prodigy being like, I'll stab your brain with your nose bone? You're like, that's it.
Because outside of the context of that moment, it doesn't seem as intelligent because like if Lil Pump said that right now, it's like, it's already been said.
It's already been said.
It's not interesting anymore.
Yeah.
But in that moment, he was describing violence in a way that you probably had never really, it sounded so convincing and so specific and so real that there was no way around it.
Yeah, I mean, and that's everything. I mean, I think you can only kind of try to like document your time,
Yeah.
and like I think that's like what I mean is like I personally am not a podcast listener, but I had a podcast for years, and like I taped 100 episodes of that podcast, and it's like I'll listen to them occasionally. I won't, but it's like you are documenting. You know, people are documenting the time, and that's what we need. Like I feel like at a time where it's like, you know, everything is like slipping into fucking quicksand. Like the best we can is to try to capture it, like on some way. Like, and that's why like I do the website because it's like I don't know, cool. Like I did it because like we talked about Little Uzi Vert, right? Like you're not gonna get a good story from Little Uzi Vert now, and you're probably not gonna get a good podcast from Little Uzi Vert unless you had done 4 podcasts prior to when he was a nobody.
Right.
Like you will not get they're like Young Thug to me is Young Thug and Future are arguably like 2 of the 5 most interesting artists I think out right now. You're not gonna get a good interview with either of them. I've interviewed Future 2 or 3 times. And the space when you would have got a really good interview with Future would have been when it was 2010 or 2011, and you would have been like in Mike Will's studio or in Zaytoven's studio, or you know, and you would have got that interview when he was a young up and comer. It's like I interviewed Schoolboy Q early, and like that was an amazing interview. I interviewed Schoolboy Q later. It was a bland interview where he was like leaned out and just driving on the hood. Young Thug, like you know, you ever see the Young Thug Reddit?
I don't think so.
Young Thug has did a Reddit in like 2012.
An AMA?
Because no one knew who he was. So it was like he was just answering questions. And you're like, oh, that was what Young Thug was like before he like became Young Thug. And,
right.
But you just don't, and they're funny and they're interesting and like quirky answers to the questions. Because obviously I think Young Thug is like pretty brilliant.
Yeah.
And, but now he's the shades are on.
But he himself says like, I don't like doing interviews. I won't do an interview, et cetera, et cetera. To me, it's like, I feel like okay, so I've hung out with YSL Duke a couple times.
Good for you.
Not because I wanted to or whatever, just 'cause
I'm young Raw 5.
Okay, well, but just because fucking
I like YSL Duke.
Dub is around him, they
really,
hang out.
Like Duke and Young Thug have a really wonderful relationship, and it makes me very happy.
You observed it?
Huh?
You've observed this in real life?
No, just on their songs. Like
Right,
he just
yeah.
really cares about Duke so much, and it comes through in the songs.
But so Duke and Dub will be hanging out, and so I've been around Duke a couple times. Duke mentioned like, oh, we should do an interview. I'm like, all right, cool, yeah, we'll definitely do that. And then it's weird to think like, that to me is the only way that I could ever get a good Young Thug
you're
podcast.
doing Frank Sinatra as a cold with YSL Duke.
If I just somehow like became friends with Duke, and I'm not gonna like chase after becoming friends with Duke, but it's just like
that should be your next move. You'd be like, okay, tomorrow I wake up, I'm pursuing this friendship with
I
you.
thought I was getting a lot closer to getting a Chief Keef podcast because I was talking to Tato on Twitter, but then I figured out I've been talking to a fake Tato Twitter for fucking a week and a half.
I think you can get a Chief Keef podcast. I think that's talk to Andrew Barber.
I think I could too. I just think that it would be the kind of thing where I wouldn't even want it unless I felt like he had already decided in his head, this guy's cool, I'm going to sit down and talk to him.
I agree with you. Like, I was did an interview with him and actually Andrew last year, and they're like, what questions do you want to ask? I'm like, I don't fucking know what questions I want to ask. That's the worst thing when people are like, what questions do you want to ask? I'm like, I honestly never have thought about. Like, I have thought about that. It's a lie. But like, a conversation is a conversation. I think that's generally the best interviews. It's again like why podcasts are probably better. Like, I when I talk to my writers about doing interviews, I was like, just have a conversation with somebody. None of this needs to be that formal. Like, we're not saving people's lives here. I'm not doing a cancer operation. And you're like,
if I knew I was going to get a Chief Keef interview on Sunday, and right now it's Thursday, I would be having anxiety until Sunday.
Yeah, you were very researched, and I appreciate that. But when we talked, you're like, I researched for like 2 days. I was like,
about who?
You said that in general. You're like, I really research, and you can tell you've researched for your podcast.
I mean, it's okay with somebody like G Perico. It's like, okay, I get offered that interview. Yeah. I'm not a mega fan. I'm not like sitting around listening to him all the time. I'd watched all his videos on YouTube and stuff. Yeah. I like do think it's important that I like have some rough sketch of like who he is in my mind, and like have read all his interviews and I've listened to the mixtapes and then watched the videos. Most
journalists do, I feel.
Yeah, but to me that's like the bare minimum, because it's like I want to be able to be the voice of his mega fans, even though I'm probably, not going to become a mega fan, but I certainly respect what he's doing enough that I want to know about it and stuff. And like, I don't know, but then like to do an interview with you, I already know a good amount about you. I didn't bother to do any research because it's like, because I know you're a good conversationalist. And actually with him, I was impressed by his conversational skills as well. And I was actually thinking, I'm like, I really probably didn't have, because a lot of times I'll sit down and do an interview with somebody and I feel like it's way better if I don't have that list of questions to sort of pull back to from time to time. Because it's all about listening, and it's all about somehow being able to listen well enough that you're going to have something interesting to say in response,
Who's the best interview you've ever done?
God, I don't even know. I don't know.
I should have started interviewing now because like everyone's like more interested. I'm looking forward to the host chats though with Robesman.
I would like to get you and Roseman together because I feel like that would be a very cerebral adventure through time with you two together. Although he's never dipped into the psychedelic pool at all. It's kind of a shame. I like Roseman because he's sort of like deep down inside. I know he's like deeply troubled like myself, and he just does a much better job. But like he's had to have a job all these years, so he's like good at covering it up.
Yeah, are you pretty troubled? Do you think deep down?
I just think I'm kind of like a moody, like negative person that doesn't want to fucking deal with anybody ever, and
you're
it just
normal.
It leaks out. No,
so
but
you're saying you're Jewish,
but I've had that obliged for much of my life because I've sort of been able to make enough money to not have a job since I was like 18. So it's like I've never had to like learn how to work with other people, and I see it manifesting itself all the time. And
did
like,
you never have a 9 to 5? Not once.
When I was like, I worked for a long time because I had Paper Route when I was 12 for like many years, and then I was selling newspaper subscriptions door to door. I was selling shoes to Sears and everything. I don't think I ever like worked 40 hours a week because pretty much I was like selling drugs and scamming by the time I graduated. Well, 1 year out of high school, I started doing all this
stuff.
Do
you emotionally identify with Joanne the scammer?
I've talked to her in the DMs. Or
you?
Him, actually, I believe. Well, because it is a guy. Yeah. But he doesn't dress as a woman full time. But I've talked to him, mentioned the podcast. I do think that, I don't know why it's so relatable to most people, because I would think that scamming and stealing from people wouldn't be like an experience that all these like cis
He's
white,
a messy bitch.
all these cis females who are loving her. I'm assuming have never committed credit card fraud or whatever. I enjoy it from a more authentic standpoint, I think, but I don't know.
Yeah, there's talent there.
Weird fact about Joanne the Scammer, or the guy who plays her, lives right down the street from Pulse nightclub. That local hangout for him. Could have very easily been there.
That's crazy.
That's what I think he told me that. Or at least I read that somewhere.
What a world.
Could you imagine if Joanne the Scammer died in a terrorist act?
Oh my God, that would be like the dystopian future that we all like. Well, you're a politics guy, right?
I like it. Imagine Fox News like trying to make sense out of the fact that someone named Joanne the Scammer died
just
in
like
this.
pivots, and all of a sudden we're like, okay, what do you think about the situation in Yemen? What do you think of Donald Trump touching the orb, Adam?
I never actually bothered to click the articles that like explained what the orb was.
Yeah, I don't think I know what the orb was.
I just took
I don't want to know what the orb was.
I'm glad to know that in Saudi Arabia there's some magical orb.
There's definitely
Because that to me is some kind of justification for the whole like throwing gay people off buildings thing. Don't let women drive. Okay, you got an orb. Maybe the orb is telling you all this shit.
Yeah, I don't trust that orb if that's what it's saying. I mean, it's a
But just the presence of an orb is kind of like, well, certainly there's no orbs in America.
I would like an orb of some sort. Like I like barely have a couple house plants, you know. And
I don't even have that.
Do you? You got a cat. We both have cats.
Yeah, but my cat stays at the store, so I don't even have that in my home.
Your cat really does. You let your cat stay here.
He's a bodega cat and a store cat and a bike
Was he
shop cat.
always a bodega cat?
No, but he was homeless for the first 3 years of his life.
Mine.
And then I got him from the Williamsburg Animal Shelter of all places in probably 2007.
So do you like organic fair trade coffee?
Yeah, well, keep in mind this was like 2007, 2008.
Yeah, so he had a mustache.
Did he have an MGMT CD? Yes.
What? Yeah, he was a big fan.
Is he fucking up my hoodie with his goddamn fur right now? Yes.
Yeah.
You piece of shit.
It's true. I feel like, do you ever feel like being a rap person that you like feel weird? You're like, I went to Starbucks. That's like not hip hop.
No, and actually, I'm glad that
I'm gonna do yoga. Not really hip hop.
Nah, this doesn't bother me. I play with this fucking thing in front of rappers all the time, and actually, it's funny because like I've had like
I mean, Logic does Rubik's cubes. You're fine.
while freestyling. God, that is amazing.
He is like, have you ever met Logic?
No.
He's the nicest person I've ever met.
I'm sure he is, and it
Like,
doesn't change
honestly,
the
like,
fact that his music really doesn't do anything for me.
You know, I want to be Logic when I grow up.
Okay.
It's like my dream to be like
You're like 10 years older than him.
super happy and well adjusted
Right.
and just like kind and like you're like, you know, how do I be like Logic?
But making albums about space and being biracial, I just don't.
I didn't listen to the latest album.
Oh, I've
but-
never heard any of it. Yeah, but
Yeah,
I just,
you know,
I've heard.
he's good at rapping.
You know, I've gone to
I
like
don't wanna-
YouTube and like watched a couple videos and been like, oh yeah, I definitely never want to hear this again. Okay.
You know, I like Logic.
Yeah, but
like,
think about this: is that me and
Still listen
Charlamagne,
to his music
me and
all the
Charlamagne
time.
butted heads on his podcast because he said that Cardi B was really dope, and I'm like, no. And then he
I don't think I've
said,
ever listened to Cardi B's music.
I was actually a Cardi B fan until she started rapping because her music really sucks dick, and I thought she was really funny before that. And then also he's like, oh yeah, I like the new Rick Ross album. I'm like,
I thought it was pretty good.
I didn't hear it, but I was
listened to it twice,
I was
but-
just telling Charlamagne, I don't want to hear that shit because he's an old ass man, that's the same thing people say about me all the time. But I don't know why the fuck I ever listened to him in the first place.
Rick Ross?
I don't really find him like a compelling character or anything.
Rick Ross had some great albums.
Could Rick Ross say anything on a track that would make you notice right
How much
now?
do you like Lobster? Ask yourself.
You're comparing
like
Rick Ross as a rapper in 2017 to Lobster. There's no diminishing returns when it comes to Lobster. It's always been good and it's always going to be good.
Yeah, like Rick Ross. Like who
Nah,
doesn't
nah,
like
nah,
he's
nah,
a
nah.
crustacean connoisseur.
Rappers don't age like food or like types
Lobster
of food.
Yeah.
That's all I'm
this
saying.
This is a 6-year-old Lobster.
Every
story.
rapper that we have ever loved has gone on to suck or at least become irrelevant.
Except Slick Rick.
I mean, I've been
Slick
listening to
Rick
Slick Rick
quote while
since
he
the
was ahead.
90s.
Yeah, no, Slick Rick has like two amazing. He did an "I Want to Rock" freestyle over that Snoop Dogg "I Want to Rock" song. Shout out Scoop DeVille, great beat. And he made that song on the Mos Def album, The Ecstatic, around 07. He hasn't done anything in a decade since, and they were amazing.
Are you excited to hear a Jay-Z album in 2017?
No.
Not
But
excited.
I
But you'll
also-
listen to it?
Yeah.
You're a better man than me.
Here's the thing about Jay-Z. Like, I had this realization a while ago. Like, were you a big Jay-Z fan when you were growing up?
massive.
Huge, right? I love
Gigantic,
Jay-Z.
yeah.
I was always like, when Jay-Z, Nas, I was always like Jay-Z. I like Nas, but like Jay-Z was like one of my favorite rappers. I never understood like you couldn't like rock his records and Jay-Z. Like that never made sense to me. I'm like,
To me, Jay-Z helped me understand what it was to really be obsessed with a rapper because it was around the time of he had kind of like missed my peripheral up until like the Blueprint in a weird
Yeah.
way. Like I hadn't really been paying that much attention before that. And then that beef with Nas like caused me to revisit everything that either of them had ever done. And then all of a sudden I was,
Yeah.
that kind of set the stage for me being like a massive 50-year Cameron stan and then sort of going from there.
yeah. I was listening to Mace earlier today, and I had like the thought where I was like, I bet Cam was like really pissed off when like Puffy picked Mace. Like that had to really hurt Cam if you think about it. And like to be fair, Harlem World is a great record. Like it is a classic record, and Cam has at least one probably. Diplomatic Immunity is probably a classic in its own way. Like, and probably Sports, Drugs, and Entertainment's probably like.
I mean,
It's amazing.
if you don't want to go by albums, if you want to go by songs, we could name hundreds of classic Cameron
you can go
songs
all
from
day
that
with
era,
Cam.
and definitely some albums.
But like, what an interesting thing for Puffy. I mean, think about like Cam. Like, what a weird trajectory. It's like, and this is exactly what I'm saying, right? Like, Mace got picked. Big L kind of got picked first, right? Big L
Right.
got that deal. Like, put out Lifestyles of the Poor and Dangerous. Mace gets picked second. Cam gets picked. Well, Bloodshed gets picked for. Bloodshed died.
Bloodshed
But
died.
Bloodshed didn't end well. But Cam of Children. I mean, what a great name, Children of the Corn.
Because Duke the God was the original guy working that project, and I just had this long conversation about it.
Of Lifestyles of the Corn Dangerous or Children of the Corn?
Children of the Corn. That was all him running the show for with that shit. And I said to him, I'm like, that's a fucking insane group. Big L, Mace, Camera in the same group. Even ignore the other
the
guys.
most talented rap group in history.
That's
probably,
unreal,
right?
And they didn't really get too far with it.
I mean, that's like it's them, Wu-Tang, and Outkast, right? Where you're like, okay, like you have incredible, yeah.
But like Wu-Tang and
UGK,
Outkast
maybe.
have like a real serious output, whereas Children of the Corn was kind of
like,
limited.
Like demos, yeah.
Yeah, and
Rap
but
is like, I mean, right? That's why it's cool though. Like that's why you can talk about it. Like I mean, I did a podcast episode where it was like, what if scenarios?
Right.
You know, what if Bloodshed lives? What if Big L lives? You know, like
That's
he was
crazy.
just signed to Rockefeller.
okay, but 1997 Mace, in my opinion, raps much better, or at least more marketably than 1997 Cameron.
I think that's probably true.
Cameron to me didn't really get
But Horse
great.
and Carriage
and-
was kind of cracking.
it was kind of cracking, but I
Horse
did.
and Carriage was like the Horse and Carriage was
Okay,
for
but
hire.
compare that to the Cameron that you saw in Hey Ma and Oh Boy, which were like his hits after that. Come on, those are fucking.
Yeah.
That's a totally different rapper,
Just
totally
Way-
different
Just
flow,
Ways kind of brought it. you
totally
know?
different delivery. Everything about his voice had changed. His delivery. Oh my god.
I mean, that's the thing though, right? Like, so it's like, it's like, I mean, I do that all the time where I like write off somebody and it's like, you don't know. Like, I, you know, honestly, like to be real, like when everyone was like, Cameron is so great. Like I always liked Cam, but I was never like, and Wayne too, right? Like I always liked, like when I was growing up, like I had like, I fucked with Cash Money. Like I had like a Cash Money like poster on my wall, like a Lil Wayne poster on my wall. But like when people were like, Lil Wayne is the best rapper alive, I was like, nah.
I was never able to really swallow that. He might have been the most exciting,
He
exhilarating
was
one
for about
at a
2
certain
years.
point.
I would say Wayne was for. I mean, but to be fair, that was a kind of a dead period for rap.
Right, because who
you
you
can't tell that to
comparing
anyone
to him?
25 though. Like they will say straight up like, how dare you? I will kill you.
2009 was a weird era and shit.
Oh well, I mean, but Wayne was peaked. I think at that point. I think Wayne's peak is really like Carter 1 till right to the leaks of Carter 3, like
Right.
with like I Know the Future. Like that's kind of where like Carter 3 is a good record.
But that's certainly the first rapper you've ever been able to consider the best rapper at that time, but off of an output that was so different than the typical album-based release
Yeah.
that you had seen from people who you would have considered the best rapper of all time
It was a
before.
completely new paradigm.
Or even when now when we look at Kendrick and we're like, oh, he's probably the best current active rapper. But I mean, he's incredibly tight control output.
Totally.
You go a year without hearing nothing besides maybe a verse or two.
Can you imagine like telling your like 17-year-old self, one of my favorite rappers will be called Young Thug, and I'm gonna like a 16-year-old. You know what I mean? It's like named Little Pump. Like, I you know what I mean? Like you almost had to like, and I think that this is why hip hop has thrived because it kind of at some point it became a different genre. You know, and it's the same genre obviously. Like hip hop, it there's a through line through most of it, but. If like all rap sounded like Joey Badass, like no one would like. And Joey Badass, like I thought his last album was solid. Like I'm not, he's all right. He can rap, but I don't want all rap to sound like that. And it's good that like it's cool that now like we have. It's almost back to how it was in the '90s, where it's like in the early '90s before it kind of got like really corporate. Because I think like you can have like on one end of the spectrum Open Mike Eagle or a Vince Staples or a Draco or a G Perico or a YG, Schoolboy Q,
All
Kendrick.
LA artists, by
Just
the way.
all LA. You know,
doesn't
that's
care.
just LA.
Yeah.
But like, and I'm using that just to prove the point.
I just like that you love LA rap so much that you
from
don't even
here.
feel the need to venture outside.
And I'm from here. Like, people from LA know what, people know. And like, it's cool. We're welcoming. I'm happy that you're here and people are doing cool things and respect it. And like,
It's interesting because I always thought LA rap, even though I got into it kind of through like Dre and Stoop and stuff,
Yeah.
I always felt like I was more interested in East Coast rap when it was East versus West.
East Coast rap was amazing.
Yeah.
And they're still like,
Wu-Tang and Mobb Deep and fucking,
that was my favorite
yeah,
too.
I mean, that was just a beautiful era.
It was, that was the thing though. And I think like you get older and you get a little removed, but like, I don't know, music changes every month when you're that age. You don't have like this like backlog of months. Like at that point you're like, I don't know, I might be grunge for 6 months. Like
I was.
right? Like I had like 6 months where I was like super all about like Pearl Jam and Soundgarden and Nirvana and Alice in Chains, and then like I was like, oh shit, Warren G came out. Fuck that.
Well, for me, Limp Bizkit came out. And that kind of put an end to a lot of the grunge stuff I was fucking with at the time.
Yeah, I mean, it was.
But then I kind of like, it was weird because Limp Bizkit was my favorite band, and then 6 months later, I was super into like straight edge hardcore and thought Limp Bizkit was the gayest shit I ever heard in my life.
Limp Bizkit, not tight.
Never went for it?
I mean, I stole the CD from a friend. Like, I mean, she was like, "Take it." I was
Hey,
like,
were you ever
"All right."
on Bmg or like Columbia Music House and shit?
I think I might have had a BMG.
I was scamming mad CDs off that one back
You
in
were
the
like
day.
giving fake addresses. You were the Joanne the scammer of the
And
year.
I was delivering newspapers, and I would see the BMG cases in people's fucking mail, and I would just snatch it and get like 3 free CDs, and I'd open it up, and it'd be like Amy Grant or something.
You're like, fuck, who needs this fucking Julio Iglesias record?
Well, you realize
I don't want all these Joan Cicada records.
One
Fuck.
time in one like day or week, I stole 2 different BMG music or Columbia House CD packages, and both of them contained.
Columbia House was a real racket,
but
man. They
both
were,
of
like,
them
charging you
contained the same Kid Rock CD.
That was a
I had
double
doubles.
without a cost.
I had doubles for that one.
That was, I never owned that CD either. Although, like, you have to kind of respect Kid Rock despite his Republican politics, because he did have a Too Short produced album, like, from the get-go.
Yeah, he's super right wing now, huh?
Yeah, I saw him at the Republican National Convention, which I attended to cover as a journalist, not as a fan.
Wow.
And my friend got in a headlock with Rick Springfield. He flicked out for Rick Springfield, and they got him in a headlock. Wow. Rick Springfield, like, does not play. Because, you know, think about it.
Them.
What is a scumbag? What is more of a scumbag song than Jesse's Girl? It's like, I want to fuck my friend's girlfriend. You're a
Right.
dick, dude.
Yeah.
You shouldn't write a song about that. If you want to do that, like do it on the low and don't brag.
Yeah, or think about it and don't commit
Just
it to
like
song.
don't do it. Like in general, there's plenty of people out there in the world where you don't need to sleep with Jesse's girl.
Yeah.
Who needs that?
But, forbidden fruit.
Yeah.
All right.
Hour 3.
We are at 2 hours and 8 minutes. You got any thanks or anything? I like how I brought back Amy Grant. You
Amy
mentioned
Grant,
her early
yeah,
on.
we're
I
going
brought
there.
her back in.
I like that. Yeah.
Thanks.
I'm looking forward to the host channel. PassionTheWeiss.com, POW Recordings, all those people I listed earlier. I don't know. Read books. Like, I don't care. Listen.
If you made it all the way through, comment
yeah, if you listen
or
all
tweet,
the way in through, why are you still here?
hashtag
Thanks.
read books. That's
No,
our,
you don't need to read books. If you don't want to read books, that's cool too.
No, but that's what we
It's
do.
all
We
right.
do a secret hashtag at the end so then people can prove to us on Twitter in the comments that they watched the
buy
whole
my
thing.
book, Waiting for Britney Spears, coming out in 2019. You'll see. It'll be good. Remember now.
It will be good.
All right.
Anyway, Jeff, thank you for coming through and
Thanks, man.
cracking a few cold ones with the boys. This has been a good time.
It was a good
Everybody,
time to crack open some cold ones with the boys.
passionoftheweiss.com. Shout out to my cat.
PassionWeiss.com.
Passion
actually.
Weiss.
Get it,
Oh, shit.
And
I don't type in URLs. I would always type in Passion of the Weiss, click enter in Google, and then just click the first thing that comes
I'm a
up.
prudent young man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm
And,
a searcher.
You are. Yeah.
I wouldn't even go to Twitter. I'll type in Twitter
yeah.
and then just hit enter and then click the top link.
Yeah,
That's
listen
how
to
we
artists on the label. We just put out TYE32. It's dope. I don't know. Do what you want.
go down the rabbit holes. You
Yeah.
already know. No Jumper, coolest podcast in the world. Check us out on YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes.
Falling like an alpha, but got